This is a Fox News alert. All 20 hostages set free from Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony. That's the chant in Freedom Square in Jerusalem, where the president is about to speak as they all celebrate this.
Just a short time ago, the Israeli Defense Forces gave a simple statement that this nation has waited 2 years to hear. There are no more living hostages in Hamas captivity.
Fox's Steve Harrigan is in Jerusalem.
Those hostages from 2 different locations, 20 of them alive, have been transferred first from Hamas to the Red Cross, and then from the International Red Cross to Israeli military forces. And then the IDF brought them to a base in Ra'im, a military base inside of Israel. From there, some of them, the initial 7, are now preparing to go to hospitals in Tel Aviv.
We're still awaiting word on the remains of the 28 dead hostages Hamas also is to hand over. Meanwhile, Reuters reports the first of 38 buses carrying Palestinian prisoners has crossed into Gaza, swapped as part of that Trump ceasefire plan. The president is now in the parliament in Jerusalem, getting a big applause as he walked into the Knesset. He will speak in moments, and we've learned the president will say it's a historic dawn of a new Middle East, and the focus must now be on stability and economic development, though many questions remain about rebuilding and governing Gaza after the destruction of the war that left 67,000 Palestinians dead. President Trump talked to reporters when he landed in Israel.
We're going to Egypt after Israel, and we're going to meet all of the leaders of the very powerful and big countries and very rich countries and others, and they're all into this deal.
And again, in a matter of minutes, he will address the Israeli parliament. America's listening to Fox News.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
He's coming. Here he comes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los.
Oh, good morning.
Happy that you are here.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
I'm
How
great.
you been?
You're so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to Monday, everybody.
I just try. That's all I do. Yeah, welcome to Monday. Certainly a busy Monday, as 38 buses have already departed Israel and are headed toward Gaza to deliver the prisoners that are going to be swapped for the hostages.
Are we now technically step 2? Step 1 is a ceasefire. Step 2 was the pulling back to a certain area, a certain location.
Yeah, with the troops.
And now this is supposed to be what everyone's been waiting for, was Monday of the hostage and prisoner exchange.
Yeah, we've been kind of monitoring the networks since I've been here just a little after 5, and the celebration in Tel Aviv has not stopped. They've been very, very, very passionate, waving flags and that sort of thing. And then in the Israeli parliament, lots of recognition and I assume preparing for the hostages to be freed. And then Donald Trump will deliver a speech there and kind of cap off this first step, as you were describing, man. And it's just insane to think that this is we've actually made it this far. That you have Arab nations that are backing the United States and backing Israel, essentially. to denounce Hamas and say, hey, these people are done. We are done with these people. Now, the problem is, in Gaza right now, you're still struggling with the remnants of Hamas trying to kill people who are not loyal to Hamas. And that's been going
regular.
on. Yeah, that's been going on, and it's yesterday into, obviously.
That's how they always secure 80-some% of the vote.
That's exactly right. And they're finding out, okay, which clans, which tribesmen are not loyal to Hamas, and we're trying to kill them. We're trying to butcher them. Down to the last second, dude. To the last second before they turn over the hostages, and they're still trying to butcher people.
In war, you're going to find this is pretty atypical behavior. The Taliban was doing the same thing in Afghanistan just several years ago. When you have a faction on their way out, what do they tend to do? They try to kill their political enemy before they hit the door.
It's filthy, it's ugly, it's awful, and hopefully, those people are saying, because these are the Palestinians that they feel like, were not doing what they wanted to, not doing the bidding of Hamas, which there was a portion of the Palestinian people that were never on board with all this crap. And probably more than we realized, because they were afraid, so they voted a particular way just because they were afraid of being butchered.
Well, that's the curiosity of now having tens of thousands rolling back into the Gaza Strip. Are these people, since they have now been refugeed from their homeland, how much have they followed the war? How much have they gotten into the propaganda from both ends? How much have they been able to go, wow, okay, maybe peace is better than this savagery on both sides? And to think, and here's the fun moment that I really enjoyed over the weekend. For all the Free Palestine crowd on every college campus.
Crickets.
You got to look at Donald Trump and go, he did it.
Yep.
You've been complaining about Donald Trump for the better part of a year.
Yes.
Yet he's the one who freed Palestine. He's the one who delivered peace to a region as it stands right now.
Not you Hamas supporters.
No.
Not you terrorist sympathizers.
With you blocking buildings and trying to keep Jewish students from going to school. It was Donald Trump, Orange Man bad, who got this thing done. He's the one who's getting standing ovations around the world.
That's right. And you see, was it Friday, I guess, we played the piece of audio, and it was Abby Phillips on CNN. She's like, something changed. What was it that changed that we're able to push this? Why couldn't the Joe Biden administration do something like this?
Something changed.
Something changed, yes. Something did change. And it was a president that wasn't afraid to use American authority, American power for good. That's what changed.
And I'll say this as well. We are in a different place economically than we were just a year ago.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you want to still vilify the tariff situation and what the Trump administration has done there, we have now asserted American buying power around the world. And what that has now created is a point where we can now go in and talk to other countries economically about securing peace and what it could mean for their markets and what it can mean for them moving forward. As it turns out, the idea of creating comfort for your society actually works with world leaders pretty well.
Man, imagine that. Giving your people peace, prosperity, a nice life.
I mean, if you were the Biden administration and you didn't have a tariff policy and you weren't planning because you had one in place that was put in place by Donald Trump for China.
There was one there.
That they never enforced.
Yeah, that's right.
How can you walk in to any negotiation, suddenly start talking about economics and what we can do for you or what we'll restrict and what we'll enhance?
Yeah.
This is part of it. This is all part of the game.
They never had a plan to do anything except tear the United States down. That was the only plan in place. That was the major goal. How do we diminish the value of the United States? How do we diminish the strength of the United States? How do we diminish America?
Well, and when we don't have power, it's interesting how we can't influence peace around the world.
Imagine that.
It's always been peace through strength. It really does work. It really does. And
Ask the Saudis.
Yeah.
Ask the Qataris.
Yeah. The fact that we now have a large amount of the Middle East that is saying, not only do we recognize Israel, but we're going to work with them technologically moving forward. Huh?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. These people have been spending the better part of 70 years tried to be wiped off the map.
I thought Donald Trump was going to start World War III. That's what I kept being told. That's what I was told during the run-up to the election. That's what I've been told since the day he was inaugurated, January 20th, if I'm not mistaken. They've told me he's going to start. He is a Nazi fascist. going to start World War III. And instead, he's done exactly what you just labeled out or laid out. Israel being recognized for the first time in its existence by Arab nations.
The poll numbers, and this is very frustrating for the media, they haven't changed.
No.
He's actually more popular than Barack Obama was at his height. The poll numbers have not changed because he was told you from the campaign trail moving forward. One of the easiest ways to lose percentage points, the easiest ways to lose favorability, start doing things that people backed you that they don't. I didn't vote for that. All right, we voted for all of this. This is all the stuff that we were voting for. And as long as he continues to deliver it, his numbers are going to remain in the plus category. We went through some of the immigration numbers from last week. Those haven't changed in 10 months.
Not 1 point.
No matter what the media's tried to do, here's this poor guy that just got pulled off the street. What was the one over the weekend? 6-year-old girl who was detained.
Turns out she's 35.
Turns out she's 27. But from behind, you're like, she's 4 foot tall.
Exactly.
That's what they're left now with.
Yeah.
Because of what is going on. As we look over in Jerusalem, right now, they're all celebrating that man.
That's exactly right.
And the other part, too, the wild part, this is actually set up to where if there's one big winner, it's not Bibi Netanyahu. In fact, now...
No, it's
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's the biggest winner in all of this.
That's exactly right. And he did something with Netanyahu that really set this in motion. When Netanyahu and the Israelis attacked Qatar, Donald Trump said, "You will not do this again.
Yep.
You will work the way I need this to work. You're going to work within the bounds that I've laid out," and made him call the Qataris to apologize, and not just anywhere. Donald Trump said, "You're going to call the Qataris from the Oval Office as I sit here to make sure that it gets done." Dude, that's
a boss move.
That's a freaking boss move.
And just so everyone understands, Netanyahu is looking at prosecution moving forward. And the reason why he was not running into any of it was because we, as he put it, we're currently at war. We've put together this council. This council is the one who's going to see us through this. Once this is done, then we'll move. So he has had a vested interest in the prolonging of this war. Now that that's over with, now you see why it's Donald Trump sitting at the head table in Israel.
Yeah.
He's the one who led this. He has now delivered them to a place where they're going, not only do we have peace, but oh, by the way, and again, I don't look at Bibi as like a bad guy or anything else like that, but I do look at it as when it comes to politics, things get complicated and people will make decisions based on their own best interests. And in this case, it removed best interest away from him, too.
That's exactly right. So it'll be interesting and it'll be fascinating to see the hostages coming home to their loved ones. And I can't imagine the sheer amount of PTSD these poor people are going to have.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
For being treated so inhumanely for so long. And then for the Palestinians that you talked about, the tens of thousands that are headed back to Gaza, 83% of the country doesn't exist. It's on the level of France in World War II.
Yeah, it's dust.
It's
what the war caused.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be pain and suffering on both sides, and this is going to be a prolonged process of rebuilding Gaza, rebuilding just the entirety of that area. It's decades and decades and decades. And there's going to be speed bumps, there's going to be hiccups, whatever you'd like to call them, because Hamas is not going to just go away. Be ready. They're butchering people as we speak right now who weren't loyal to them. And they feel caused this, this exodus that they're having.
But it'll be interesting if we have Hamas turn into the insurgency group. Because if there's one thing that I think we've gotten used to dealing with, we're not going to be dealing with it. Other people are going to be dealing with it.
Well, that's the first and foremost.
Counterinsurgency in Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah.
That is an element that it really turns into you need the public to turn on these people. And if that's what's really happening in the interest of peace, then there's a good chance that Hamas ends up being melted away. But if they don't, then it just grows.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll keep you posted throughout the morning, but wanted to discuss the most important story of the day.
And then the other story of the day.
That's exactly right.
I have had people arguing on my timeline for 36 hours, and it's glorious and awesome. All right. Yeah. First and foremost, when it comes to that Georgia game against Auburn.
How about them dogs?
Never leave it into the hands of an official. Ever. I talk about this. I don't care if it's all the way to professional sports, college sports, youth sports. I can tell my kids, yeah, the ref's bad. You got to play through it. Got to figure out a way around it. And what I felt was that the officiating was subpar. At the same time, you got to play through it. Now, that review on the goal line, I've now watched that play 4 or 5 times. There was never a signal.
No, I know. It should have been touchdown Georgia.
No one made a call.
That's right.
At all. And I believe that if it was called a touchdown and then they went to replay, there's an argument that that ball is moving before the quarterback reaches over the goal line.
Defensive player punching it out as it comes across. Yeah.
And so if you're then telling me, well, they ruled it a touchdown on the field. You know what? It might have stayed a touchdown, but they didn't.
They ruled it a fumble.
They didn't make a call, and then when they went to replay, the replay ends up confirming the fact that they didn't make a call.
Right. And I'm telling you, that should have been a Georgia touchdown because of that.
Now, they whistled the play dead at that point.
Did they say? I didn't remember that.
So the play got whistled dead. So even though Georgia takes off with the football going the other way as the officials are looking for the football,
yeah,
I will tell you. So
should have been a Georgia touchdown.
For anybody, and this is how I would put it, for YouTube, you're going to enjoy this. So when you take a snap, you ever taken a snap of a football from underneath the center?
Mm-mm.
All right, how do you think you would put your hands, just out of curiosity? Okay, that's wrong. But I'm glad you think that way. So when you take a snap of the football, this goes into the hindquarters, right?
Yeah, right up in
the other hand is placed here next to it. That's how you take the snap.
I never knew that.
You do not. It's not like an oyster.
Okay,
that's what you would think.
Yeah.
No, it's this hand is up, this hand is here. So when you catch the football on the snap, you're getting the fat part of the football. That's what's being snapped to you.
Mm-hmm.
If the center snaps you one end or the other, we got a problem. You're not catching it. So to see the quarterback as he's leaping for the goal line, and he's no longer holding the fat part of the football that you're snapped, which remember he had just had an instant before.
Yeah.
And instead he's holding the tip end of the football. It means it was already moving.
That's right. Yeah, of course.
I mean, this is how this works. Again, YouTube. It's like that. That's how you take a snap.
Not
you take a snap like this. Not like oyster. You take a snap like this so you catch the fat part of the football. The other thing, the whole Kirby Smart timeout, not timeout. I rewatched that 5 times.
The safety back there clapping.
Okay, he calls timeout, which I had talked about on X. He called timeout. He ran down the sideline and called timeout. Right. But he didn't proceed to argue that he didn't. He proceeded to argue, which you do catch on the audio, hey, they're clapping. They're clapping. Now, what about that? It turns out, you found out during postgame, Kirby Smart in pregame, because you always get a meeting with the officials, he told the officials in pregame, they will clap to mess with our signals. So he told all the officials, like, be looking for this. This is what happens. Coaches start dropping little piece of information. Hey, when they run screens, their offensive line are down the field. Just want to let y'all know. Kirby was like, they clap to mess with our signals. Now, you don't clap like when they're in Athens, because you can just call your regular stuff. They're clapping because they know it's going to be loud in Jordan Hare.
Yeah.
So he starts arguing that they are running simulated snap count. That's supposed to be a 15-yard penalty on 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
So what did the refs do?
Nothing.
All right, we're just gonna do a do-over then.
Yeah.
So wait, we're not getting the first down off of the 3rd and 19, the 15-yard call? No, you're not. All right, well, what? Well, okay, your timeout. That's what they did. It was hillbilly justice, okay? and what happens with hillbilly justice, guys? On the very next play, Georgia hits a ball to go inside the 10-yard line, flag down.
Backs of the blindside block for Cash Jones that wasn't.
Which was not. Now, here's the other part about that, because Cash Jones ends up smoking the safety. I mean, safety's looking right at him. Cash Jones looks up and just smashes him, and they throw a flag. Okay, here's how you know this is hillbilly justice and it's BS. And again, why the officiating wasn't great, but you have to outplay it. Technically, if that's a blindside block, they have to go to replay to see if it's a targeting call.
Yeah.
And they never did. Why?
Because it was
hillbilly justice. Okay? It's like, hey, we're not going to hit y'all with this part. You get to keep your back, but it's 15 yards.
Yeah.
And by the way, in all the sequence, Georgia didn't score anyway.
No, I know, right?
So stop crying, Auburn fans. It was bad for everybody. All I'm saying is hold on to the football when you go across the goal line, and then stop crying about the little stuff. Go score in the second half. You didn't score.
15 yards
of offense in the second half.
15 yards. Good heavens. Those poor plainsmen. Poor folks. I feel nothing at all for them.
Just they're all in the mentions complaining about
I know.
And I'm like, listen, it wasn't going to matter.
I know. Well, here's the deal.
Basketball season is coming, Auburn.
Dude.
It's fine.
Well, but they don't got Bruce Pearl now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Let's see how it goes. Bruce Pearl's son is not Bruce Pearl. I wonder if Bruce Pearl's going to run for office. I would like to see Bruce Pearl run for office. I like that guy.
It would have to be pretty soon.
Yeah.
So you're starting to have the coalition of people that are looking to step into that role, that Senate seat.
When we continue on Xtra 106.3, the government shutdown continues. Representative Mike Collins joins us to discuss a resolution on Xtra 106.3.
Neil Bortz is only live on Xtra 106.3, bringing you daily commentary on the biggest topics of the day. Catch him throughout the day or hear his latest on the Xtra 106.3 app.
I just want you to know that there is an opportunity for you to save all kinds of money. If you're in the market for a new heating and air system, I want you to call Chuck and his team over at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, because it is chilly outside, 54 degrees. Good Lord, I feel like we moved to Antarctica all of a sudden. Central Heating and Air Conditioning has a great deal for you. $2,100 in rebates off a new Carrier system and 60 months, 0% financing with approved credit. That's right. You get both. Savings up front, $2,100 off, and no interest for 5 full years. Brand new Carrier system from Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Dependability, efficiency, comfort that your family will love and appreciate. Now, this is such an overlooked thing. It's so easy just to expect that your house is always going to be so comfortable. And if you don't have a good system, a reliable system, then you're going to struggle with this, especially as we go into the winter. So get it done now. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com.
Join Daniel Matalon, CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and co-host Tug Cowart as they bring together law enforcement, justice insiders, and voices from every part of the justice system, victims, advocates, and people who've turned their lives around. It's not PR, it's not fluff. It's an honest talk about what's working, what's broken, and how to build a better path forward, one second chance at a time. This week's guest is Cobb County District Attorney Sonia Allen. Justice Unfiltered. Unfiltered, informed, and unbiased.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Find your perfect Ford today at Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs. Home to one of Atlanta's largest selections of new and used vehicles. They're just 4 miles north of 285 on Roswell Road.
Stop by today to explore their incredible inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs, each thoroughly vetted to meet the highest standards.
Looking for power and performance? Drive home a legendary Mustang or conquer the great outdoors in the rugged Bronco.
Need family-friendly space? The Explorer and Expedition have you covered. Or experience the capability and strength of America's best-selling truck, the F-150.
And when it's time to finance, their straightforward, hassle-free process ensures your experience is stress-free.
With access to numerous lenders and expert guidance, they'll help you find the best rates and terms to fit your budget.
Which Ford will you drive home next? Find out at Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs, or visit them online at jimellisford.com.
Your Ford dreams are waiting. Make them a reality today at Atlanta's favorite Ford dealer, Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs.
Braves Country Convos is the newest official podcast of the Atlanta Braves. Join hosts Jory Palmer and Lauren Saad for some fun, lighthearted, and unexpected discussions as they interview guests with strong Braves country ties about the things that connect us all. Guests range from Braves alumni Charlie Culberson, MLB Network's Lauren Shahadi, and more. Visit Braves.com/podcast to begin listening to Season 1 wherever you get your podcasts, or watch on YouTube. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, October 13th. A 26-year-old man was arrested for vandalizing the Martin Luther King Jr. burial site. Authorities say Brent Jones urinated in the reflecting pool and then stomped on the eternal flame, damaging it. The King Center remains open for visitors. A new survey ranks Georgia among the lowest states for binge drinking, with only 15% of adults reporting that behavior. The survey, based on CDC and Mental Health America data, put Georgia 9th lowest nationally. Researchers define binge drinking as 4 or more drinks for women or 5 or more drinks for men in a single occasion. And the Savannah Bananas will be back at Truist Park in 2026 for a 3-game series from May 8th to 10th. The Banana Ball Tour is also expanding to 6 teams. Fans can enter a ticket lottery on the league's website to secure seats for the Atlanta games as soon as submissions open. Today's weather clear and sunny with highs in the upper 70s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Joined on the show by Mike Collins, representing Georgia's 10th Congressional District. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing fine.
I want to ask you, because you are running for Senate, you're getting a whole lot of interest in your campaign, and you're raising money in an incredible fashion. If you were already senator, let's say that you were a senator right now, what would you be doing to open up the government?
I would be leaning on the same senators that we've always played, and leaned on, and getting the 2 pieces of legislation that I got passed into law, because we had to have Democrats ride with us on both of those pieces of legislation. And there are people over there, they understand. You pick out the ones that are coming up for re-election, and the ones that are sensible that'll talk to you. Now, Chuck Schumer's not going to be one of them. I mean, he's in a fight for his life anyway. I mean, he's got AOC staring down his neck, Yeah. So, but there are people over there, but once you get a couple to go, or 2 more to go with you, you'll start seeing the sea change then. And I think the other part of the equation is the American people are going to start demanding something happen. There is nothing that happens in that town up there, and it never will, until the American people stand up and say enough is enough. We need this fixed now. And, we need this government back open, because y'all know this. We've already passed 60% of our appropriations, sent them over to the Senate. They've sent them back, and we're ready to have a conference on them. We only have 40% more to go. Why not just open this thing back up? Let's just keep going. They've already voted for this 13 times. Give us through the end of November, and let's get the rest of these appropriations out. This could be crazy, but we may get back to regular order.
Congressman Mike Collins is our guest right here on the Morning Extra, and let me follow up with that, because the polling continues to show that this is not hurting Republicans, but also the polling continues to show that the issue that the 18% of people that consider themselves Democrats and look at Democrats favorably, they like this because they feel like the Democrats are fighting back. Is it mostly a perception issue that's going on to go along with the AOC challenge and some of the issues in the Democrat Party?
Yeah, well, it is, and you know, but look at what it's doing in reality. I mean, you know, in this reality, you're hurting our troops, our military out there. You're hurting people that are not going to get paid, that they get paid twice a month, that they're rolling up on that next month or next week. And so there are a lot of people that are caught up in whatever perception that they want to, you know, put out there. And that's the reality. And when the reality sets in and the American people say this is enough of this mess, then they'll go ahead and pass this thing, which is all they need to do. You know, we get back to regular order. We get back to funding the government and get back to doing our job. Then if they want to have a debate, say, on health care, then that's when you have it. You don't have it when you have a funding bill on the floor.
Congressman Mike Collins joining us on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. He is running for Senate. You'll be able to learn about his campaign. We'll tell you how to get there and to learn about the things that he is going to work hard to do if he were to be elected senator here in the United States and from the state of Georgia. But you brought up the military, and I served in the Navy, and my last year, Mike, I made $15,000 as an E5. I'm sure that's gone up slightly since then. When you start missing checks as a guy that made $15,000 my last year, my highest earning year in the United States Navy, that is something that is extraordinary and very painful for people. This is going to come down to people are going to have to start screaming and shouting, kind of like you're talking about. But this does have implications. This does hurt real people.
Yeah, sure it does. You know, you talk about military pay. Now, we increased the military pay substantially when we passed the big, beautiful bill. And increase that. But before that, you know, you had military families that were on food stamps.
I served with right alongside those, sir. And I've told that story a million times, and I'm glad you said it because people are in disbelief. They're like, no way.
Yeah. That is beyond sad and disrespectful. I mean, these people put their life on the line every day to keep us safe, just so that we can get out here and protest or whatever people think that they want to do in this country because it's free. And then we don't do any better for them and their welfare and their family's welfare than what we've been doing. And now we're going to tell them, oh, by the way, you're not going to get paid next week. That's to me, that's beyond disgrace.
Representative Mike Collins joins us right here on the Morning Extra. He is also running for Senate in this state. And I want to move over to that because we've been talking to a lot of candidates across the state that are in this primary process. What has the challenge been for you? Because it seems like every different campaign has had, whether it's trying to get the word out, trying to get, in certain cases, it's trying to get from a smaller market into a bigger market. What has been your challenge for you?
Just getting up to speed, you know, and I think we've done a pretty daggone good job of doing that. So many people encouraged me to get into this race. You know, it's not something I was seeking to do, but people encouraged us to get in it, said we need to be in it. And as you can see, just in the short 10, 11 weeks that we've been in this thing, I mean, not only are we leading in the polls, we're leading in fundraising, we're leading in grassroots. I mean, for somebody that's only been in a short time to be number one in fundraising, outraised even the governor's pick. You know, and to be first in polling and to be tied with John Ossoff, to have organized all 159 counties with over 400. Last time I heard it was 420 people that are chairman across this state. You know, we got donations from all 159 counties, all 50 states, even territories like Guam and Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. This will be a nationwide race at the end of the day that shows you how we have support all across the country. But the support and the push from here in the state of Georgia, man, has just been incredible.
And congratulations on that, Representative Mike Collins, here on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
And by the way, as Mike Collins is bringing up, that polling from September, again, this is with the idea of asking the question against John Ossoff. Even as of now, Mike Collins is polling even with John Ossoff.
Let's go. It's so encouraging. It has to be encouraging to you.
Well, it is, but I think, man, I look forward to the day that people can sit there and take a choice between just a blue collar successful business person or someone that's a trust fund kid. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. He's going to get his checks for the rest of his life. But we've both been in Congress the same amount of time. I've been there 2 years. He's been there one term, which is 4 years now. And then look at the results of what we've gotten done. I've gotten 2 pieces of bipartisan legislation. He could have done the same thing I did with the Lake and Rod. He could have done that, but he didn't. People understand the reason that I went to Congress was to work and to be a workhorse up there. And we've shown that we're going to do that. We'll keep doing that over in the Senate so that we can get things done. Because as I've been saying for the past 2 years, the hang-up now is in that Senate. And you're seeing it played out daily right now with that shutdown over there. And he is not lifting a finger for the military. He has not lifted a finger for the farming community in this state since he's been about. Yeah, sure, he comes and talks a good talk, but all you got to do is look at the man's voting record.
Yeah.
And so now I look forward for people to sit there saying, yeah, let me make a choice between these two.
Yeah, the choice should be very, very easy. And Mike Collins would be it if he is ultimately the candidate. While we're in the shutdown, I saw Joni Ernst talk about $2 trillion worth of cutting that could be taken down by President Trump. Do you expect some of that to start happening very, very soon?
Well, the administration's already been saying that. They are looking to make sure that everything that they do is set in stone. So, of course, I think the man gets sued every day for something, going to lunch. But I know they are taking a hard look at that because the opportunity is there, and he has the ability and the right the executive branch has the right to do that. I saw the other day it looked like 47,000 IRS agents. Yay! They get furloughed.
Thank you.
Yeah, but sure, if there's that ability, and then we can save the taxpayers money, and we can still operate, and I know we can. The government, in my opinion, these agencies, in a lot of ways, have been the most inefficient, unproductive agencies or bodies that I've ever been around.
To say the least.
Yeah, when you're still running on Windows 98, I mean, that ought to speak volumes there. But I think that the administration will do what they feel is right with the American people and make sure that we have a government that is lean, mean, fighting machine.
Mike Collins is our guest right here on the Morning Extra, and as the joke does go, Congressman, that a federal court judge has just ruled to stop Donald Trump from creating peace in the Middle East. So that's one of the long-running, goofy things about what the federal court judges continue to do. Yeah. One of them that's out there is what has gone on with our actions and the support for our DHS and for our ICE workers in Chicago and also Portland. How has that been around D.C.? Because I think around the country, the more that we see what's going on in these communities, the more that I don't have a problem with having our men and women on the ground, our National Guards men and women supporting these services that are trying to execute the laws of the land.
No, I agree with you 100%. But for people in D.C., I mean, people hear me say all the time that I have not had a shooting in my apartment complex now in almost 3 months. That's reality. And for the president to say that we see that on the ground in Washington, D.C., where you have police officers that want to do their job, but they have no pursuit. They can't go after anybody. And you have a city council and a mayor there that don't want to have law and order. So, for people sitting in Washington, D.C., if they don't see what's going on in their own community that we work in, if they don't see that, then they probably won't see it in Chicago or Portland. But there again, the American people are standing up and saying, man, enough is enough, because y'all know this. If we don't have law and order in our country, we don't have a country. And those men and women that are in our police force and on our sheriff's offices, they're our front lines. They are your constitutional officers in every sense of the word, because that's where law and order is upheld. And we are a nation of laws. And if we're not going to abide by them, we're not going to hold people accountable, then we're not going to continue as a country. So.
Final thought here, as we talk to Mike Collins on the Morning Extra. To run against Ossoff, you got to be the nominee. What is it that you're going to bring that others won't? What was going to make you the person that can beat Ossoff? Why should people vote for you in the primary?
Well, midterms are easy. It's all about turnout. That's it. You've got to be able to be the person to not just turn out the base and energize the base, the people that are loyal to President Trump, those voters, but you also got to be the person that can turn out Atlanta suburbs. And I can do that. Not only do you see it in the polling data that's out there and the fact that I polled 5 points ahead over President Trump in the 10th district, which is an R24, which is extremely Republican. So I have that attraction to not just the MAGA crowd, which people know that I'm MAGA. I mean, you look at the people running in this race. I am the only candidate that has been with President Trump since the day he got in this thing in 2016 in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, I was with Trump before there was even a Trump-Pence. And have never wavered, never gotten away from it, been right there supporting him, out there campaigning across the country, even on the stage in Georgia. They see that. But we also have the story that goes with that, and that's a small businessman who never quits fighting for what's right. And they saw that in the Lake and Riley Act, with where we had to push that thing through. We tried to get it out in the 118th. We didn't give up on it, wasn't giving up on it, and we got that thing signed into law. So you've got to have both of those. Nobody else running in this race has got that. Nobody else has shown that they can do that. And so that's what, at the end of the day, Georgians will vote for someone that's going to be a workhorse, be productive, gotten things done, and that's our ticket.
Representative Mike Collins, you can find him at Rep Mike Collins on Twitter, X now, or at Mike Collins GA on Instagram. What's your website for the Senate campaign, Mike?
MikeCollinsGA.com.
There you go. Easy to find him. Thank you so much for making time for our listeners. And, sir, you're welcome back anytime, as always.
Appreciate y'all's time, too.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. When we come back, CNN's Scott Jennings lays out a common sense reason you cannot elect Democrats. Next on the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3.
Latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, October 13th. We get a Monday night sort of doubleheader that will feature the Atlanta Falcons, as the Falcons are at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo does come in with a 4-1 record. The Falcons are 2-2. Buffalo's currently a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That game will kick off at 7:15. Then 1 hour later in the evening, you will have the Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears. The Bears 2-2 on the season. The Commanders are 3-2. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite for this ball game. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
A born leader never rests. The GLE SUV continues to advance its legacy with intuitive technology, rich refinement, and all-hybrid power, including a plug-in model. From safety to style, leadership is a GLE family value. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLE 350 SUV. Just $759 per month for 36 months with $62.13 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's fall sales event, now through October 31st. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through October 31st, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Big moments deserve big-time craftsmanship. At Solomon Brothers Jewelers, we've been family-owned and operated since 1982 because we know what it means to show up when it counts. Jaron Solomon here, and that's why we're proud to be an official Tacori jeweler. Each Tacori ring is handcrafted in California, going through 20 elite artisans before it hits your hands. Not mass-produced, not generic, always personal. And with Solomon Brothers, you get lifetime cleanings, unbeatable financing, and the largest Tacori selection in Georgia. Stop by a store in Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Sharpsburg. Visit SolomonBrothers.com to book your private appointment. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, where love is in the details and legends are built to last. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, proud partner of the Georgia Bulldogs and official jeweler of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
The right partner makes all the difference. For more than 185 years, we've forged personal relationships with our customers and communities, funding economic development and rallying around the causes that are important to our neighbors. With the technology, products, and expertise you'd expect from a big bank and the local decision-making and commitment to community from your neighborhood bank, United Bank Shares is your trusted financial partner for life. Learn more at bankwithunited.com. United Bank Shares, member FDIC.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if your old windows have you boiling in the summer and freezing in the winter, you need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus no payments for 2 years.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with the Fox Celebrity Profile with Rossif Sutherland of Fox's mystery drama Murder in a Small Town. Season 2 is diving into the lives of many residents of this small town. Sutherland spoke about how, as actors, they can investigate along with the mysteries the characters take on.
We are in the business of telling stories, so if you develop a skill for the architecture of a story, then you're ultimately able to establish a motive, which is the crux of solving a crime, to figure out the story.
In episode 3, the case at the center of it features Malcolm Jamal Warner in his final performance. Sutherland shared memories from working with him.
He was very generous and he was very quick on his feet. He plays this father who's raising his daughter on his own. His ex-wife, the mother of his child, is found dead and he's accused of having murdered her. And there were ways, obviously, to play that part as a righteous, angry man, but he brought so much heart to it.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Tomorrow, we reflect on the life of Charlie Kirk on what would have been his 32nd birthday. Gone far too young, Charlie represented an unabashed pride in the American way of life, unafraid to speak out, and contributed so much to the conservative movement. His legacy lives on in the voices of conservatives across the nation and right here in Atlanta, on your only home for conservative news and talk. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra at Extra 106.3. Los and I are just still going through the fumble.
There's so many misnomers that people have on all of this. And I get it. It's all
down the hall.
According to however you saw it. Because it's interesting how I tell this to my wife whenever we're recording our podcast. I say, don't look at the audio. Because when you look at the audio and you see it moving across the screen, your brain starts to fill in, well, here's what this should be. I'm like, turn away, don't look at it so you hear it more naturally. It's the same thing visually. You will see what you want to see when you're a sports fan or you're a politics fan or whatever else you happen to be.
For sure.
You have to be able to kind of take a step back and take a look at what the scenario is. And as the mayor of Reelsville, I'm watching that thing on Saturday as my wife is yelling her head off. I'm like, hush. At the same time, I'm going, I think he fumbled the football.
Yeah.
I don't think that you had possession of it at the time when you crossed the goal line. That's all.
And Georgia got robbed because it should have been a touchdown.
And what did I show you? We went back. Is there any signal from anyone?
Zero signal.
No signals.
And nobody goes to their whistle and whistles the play dead, which Los pointed out in the post game. They said they did, which is horse hockey.
They told Kirby Smart that the play was blown dead, and that's why Georgia could not advance the football, and that the person who had recovered the fumble was down by contact.
He was laying on another player, never down.
Which, again, if you didn't whistle it dead, then why is it not a Georgia touchdown?
That's exactly
and at
right.
the very worst, if he's down by contact, well, he's down by contact at the 2-yard line. They gave you the ball on the 1 inch.
Yeah, that's right. So
all sorts of issues here, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You were good enough to overcome it.
You have to be able to, as we talked about a million times, the officiating is never going to be good. Doesn't matter what level you play at. They're human. They'll make mistakes. You have to be able to play. You can't get 15 yards in the second half and wonder why you lost a game.
Be better than the scenario. This is the level of personal responsibility that oftentimes people do not want to handle. When you start to tell them these things, oftentimes they'll start citing. It's like arguing, and I know this, okay? It's like arguing with a conspiracy theorist. Now, I consider myself not a slippery conspiracy theorist. All right, you bring up a portion, I'm going to go, yeah, you got me on that one. Not, well, what about? Well, what about this? Well, that's what. And so when you're talking to a sports fan, and they are one of those, they turn it into no matter what you bring up. Well, that was because of this. Well, that was because of that.
All the dominoes.
Oh, that's, you know what? We got screwed a week ago on that, so that's why that happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's like trying to capture a fish flying 100 miles an hour through the air. Okay? It's got to fly right through your hands because these people are slippery.
Tough to do. Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. Glad to take your calls at 404-741-1230 about this incredible moment for Middle East peace. Benjamin Netanyahu speaking right now. Donald Trump, as he stands there at the podium, Donald Trump is to his left. There are the Jerusalem Post I saw this morning, and it is a picture of Donald Trump, basically, thank you for peace in the Middle East and the opportunity.
I spent a lot of time with their podcast.
Yeah. It's
after October 7th. They were really good as far as letting you know about operations in the area and what was going on, and then telling you some of these side stories of what people were dealing with. And so, not a big surprise that they are looking at the person who helped bring peace to the region. Hopefully, we're on step 3. I didn't think we'd get to step 3.
Most people did, and we've never been this far before.
It's like, okay, we're on step 3 now. Can we get to step 10? We'll see. But
and then
step 3 is an accomplishment. Step 3 is an exchange of hostages and prisoners. All right, this is supposed to help heal some of the wounds that were caused in the area. And will it fix everything? Never. Ever. But if you're trying to tell your opponent, all right, I'm going to give you some grace here. You don't deserve it, but here's what you get. That's going to be from sending your loved ones home from my loved ones. And then you start from there.
So about, I've seen everything from, 10 minutes to an hour ago, and it just depends on who is posting about it. But I've seen lots of people that are credentialed that I would relatively trust saying that the hostages have been freed at this point. And I know there's a bus that was carrying the prisoners, the Israeli prisoners, back to Gaza to be released as well. And I think there's 2,000 of them total. But Rita Cosby is the person that has it right this second. It says, incredible day. All 20 living hostages have been freed. Bravo, President Trump. It's no surprise. Here's another thing that was a sticking point, and Jeray and I talked about this off the air this morning. The people that are upset about not having the remains of the hostages that were killed that did not make it.
Yeah, a story from last week that we were touching on that it's a sticking point.
And I understand why. But let's not, please don't interpret this as callous, because it's not meant to be. There was no way to keep those remains. There was half the time there wasn't electricity. There was just, in my view, that was never going to be something that made it home. Now, will the force that is moving in with multi countries providing troops, this Middle Eastern, this Gaza force, will they be able to search for and find remains? I would hope so. I would like to think that would be the case. And hopefully they'll bring some of them home. But I don't know that it was ever logical to think that those people they even knew where they were.
Well, and I think part of the challenge is that when you turn, rightfully so, I didn't have a problem with this, when you turn certain areas into dust, that's going to be part of it.
It is.
I mean, there are entire buildings, entire areas that are just gone.
Yeah.
There's just nothing there.
I think it's 83%.
Just gone.
Of that area that just
wiped off the map. Just flattened.
Think about the logistics of that, Lo. So you talk about flattened. Think about the logistics of moving all that rubble out before you can start rebuilding. And then what's below?
What are you going to find?
What's below that? Can you even build a high rise on this tunnel network? Or is it going to be mapped? Is it going to be destroyed and then rebuilt from I can't even wrap my head around all the logistics.
So this is the key. Technically, this is step 5 that we're on.
Okay.
Step 7 is Hamas transition. That's going to be the one that's going to be interesting to watch, because step 6 is humanitarian aid that is supposed to just roll into the area. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be supported by the other countries that are involved. 7's going to be the key, because 7 is notated as Hamas steps aside after 20-year rule, disarms, offensive weapons first, potentially all arms later, amnesty offered to fighters who comply.
Right now, they're not complying. We already know about that. There's a certain number of them that are going around and attacking Palestinians that don't appear loyal enough or wasn't loyal enough during this. So they're trying. At least there's some portion of Hamas that's already trying to wreck this.
Yeah.
I don't know that exists. I don't know that it happens. I don't know that they're capable of doing that with the reduced capacity that they are and have. But that's certainly their effort, this even as we speak.
Well, we talked about getting to step 10. We're on step 3. Okay, we're on step 5, but step 10 is Gaza reconstruction. But you have to get through these next 2 steps. After the humanitarian surge, I don't think that's going to be any kind of problem. But Hamas transition, followed by, and you're supposed to have the summit that's getting going today, formation of the transitional committee. That's where you're going to have a board that gets put together, and you will not have Hamas or the Palestinian Authority or anything else that's supposed to be part of it. This is supposed to be your transitional group made up of all the countries that are trying to now rebuild this area and stabilize and have peace.
There is a lot that has to go right. And you can guarantee there are going to be people that do not see benefit of the recognition of Israel. So they will fight it. They're going to fight tooth and nail, probably to the bitter end. But the beauty is that you already have the Arab nations that recognize a good living standard is something that they could, pitch to their people, their citizens. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, so many of these countries recognize the fact that, hey, we could all grow together and benefit together if this were to work out. And look, there were deals. You got Turkey with the F-35s. You got the super chips, the computer chips for Qatar. There's deals that have been worked to make this work, and that's what has to happen. Everything's a negotiation in life. You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. When we continue on Extra 106.3, when J.D. Vance started telling the truth on ABC News, a Clinton ally stopped that discussion immediately. Next on Extra.
Support the advertisers and partners that share your values. Give our Extra advertisers the first shot to earn your business. They will deliver for you every time and support the Extra community like no one else. Connect with all of our partners online at extra1063.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Got a to-do list a mile long? No problem. We've got the ultimate solution, our Handyman for a Day program. Here's how it works. You get a skilled handyman dedicated to knocking out your honey-do list. Paint touch-ups, drywall repairs, door adjustments, and much more, all done in one day. Call us now before the rush for your Handyman for a Day, and call us at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. One call, one handyman, one day, the Trusted Toolbox.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like St. Benedict's Episcopal School.
I'm Father Brian Sullivan, head of school at St. V's in Smyrna. We welcome students preschool through 8th grade into a diverse and inclusive community. With small classes and personalized learning, we focus on the whole child academically, socially, and emotionally. Beyond the classroom, our students thrive in arts, clubs, mini athletics, and community service. We're proud to offer Spanish as a core curriculum, and we are a STEM certified school, preparing graduates for success in high school and beyond. Applications are now open. Learn more at stbs.org.
Thanks, Father Brian. Friends, check out this community treasure. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
Hey, Atlanta Braves fans, this is Kelly Kroll, asking
asking you to step up to the plate for the men and women who have served our country and protected our freedom. The Warrior Alliance, an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, is helping thousands of veterans to achieve success after military service. Either you or someone you know has served and deserves our support. The best way to say thank you for your service is by helping a veteran round the bases on their journey home. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
Looking for the perfect car, truck, or SUV? Jim Ellis Buick GMC has you covered. With a huge selection of new and used vehicles, finding the right fit is easy.
Whether it's a Buick Enclave or Envision, a GMC Acadia or Yukon, or the power of the Sierra and Canyon trucks, and the best part, you're never alone in the process.
Their expert sales team helps match you with the right vehicle, while their finance specialists make buying simple and stress-free.
With decades of experience, Jim Ellis Buick GMC understands the importance of offering an expansive inventory that fits every driving performance, style, and budget need. Plus, every new Buick and GMC comes with cutting-edge technology, premium comfort, and advanced safety features so you can drive with confidence.
Already a Buick or GMC owner? Well, keep it running like new with their state-of-the-art service center staffed by factory-trained technicians who know your vehicle inside and out. Start your search at JimEllisBuickGMC.com or shop in person in Chamblee off Peachtree Boulevard, inside the Perimeter, or in Beaufort off Highway 20 near 985. Jim Ellis, Buick GMC, we are professional grade.
The Morning Extra, every weekday morning from 6 to 10 on WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Extra 1063.
Fox News alert. Hamas has released all 20 living hostages. I'm Dave Anthony.
The 20 men were handed over to the International Red Cross in 2 separate groups before being transferred to the Israeli military. Back home after more than 2 years of detention in a war zone. The bodies of 28 hostages who died are still to be handed over. Israel has begun the process of releasing nearly 2,000 prisoners and detainees in return.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. This is the first phase of the Trump-brokered ceasefire plan that stopped the war in Gaza.
These monsters take babies as hostages. In response to this barbaric attack on October 7th, Israel did what it had to do.
That's Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the Israeli parliament a few minutes ago.
The price of these victories has been heavy. Nearly 2,000 of Israel's finest were lost, nearly half in battle.
Now, the war in Gaza also left 67,000 Palestinians dead, and Netanyahu was sitting right next to President Trump when he made his speech.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
And in a few minutes, President Trump will address the Israeli lawmakers in the Knesset. We're told he will say this is a historic dawn of a new Middle East, that peace is not just a hope we can dream about, but a reality we can build upon. And he'll say the focus now is on restoring stability, safety, and economic development for Gaza to give Palestinians the better life their children deserve. It's day 13 of the government shutdown. And Vice President Vance is warning that more federal workers could be fired. The next Senate vote trying to end a Republican-Democrat standoff over new funding will be tomorrow. America's listening to Fox News.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms to apply.
He's coming. Here he comes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Can't afford to fill your grocery bags or gas tank? Fill your day with the best conservative talk for free by downloading the Extra 1063 app wherever you download your apps.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra at Extra 1063. It is 7:03 here, 2:03 in Tel Aviv. Donald Trump will address the Israeli parliament Shortly, the hostages now have been released. The 20 remaining living hostages have been released. And there is a busload, because I think there's 2,000 Palestinian prisoners that are going to be released, all as part of the 20-step plan that Donald Trump laid out. And man, this is really an extraordinary day. I don't know that everybody will see it as such, or stop long enough, Los, to notice how incredible this day is. And we are very fortunate to be in the role that we have, to be able to watch it and discuss it and memorize it. And the fact that we'll be able to talk about this day for the rest of our lives.
When this peace deal came down last week, I was very optimistic, but also being a realist.
You have to be.
It's like most of these things blow up pretty quickly.
You have to.
That's just the history of the region.
That's right.
All right, we've reached step 5. Which step 5 is the hostage and prisoner exchange that the Red Cross is facilitating between both groups. You're at this point now where things are going to get, like, this will be the day of celebration on each side, and it should. You're getting people that are going to come home. And that's not just fighting men. That's also women and children. Okay? Like, this is more than just what you remember from your World War II days, or trying to bring the POWs home from Vietnam. This actually does include women and children. All right, how we move into steps 7 and 8, I think are going to be the keys. Because 6 is humanitarian surge. And once that occurs, well, now it's going to put Hamas on the chopping block. And it's going to take the other Arab nations that are taking part in this to make sure that the Hamas withdrawal from power is going to happen. That's the next step. If that can occur, you might have a shot at actually pulling this thing off. But that's going to be the sticking point.
That's a big if. That's a big sticking point.
Because it's no surprise, and it's not like it doesn't go with the MO of, all right, we got our prisoners back, and you gave us a bunch of humanitarian aid. War on!
Yeah.
Which would be so like Hamas. And it's the reason why, as soon as that happens, hey, Israel's got their finger on the button too. They know that if any point Hamas doesn't live up to their end, they'll go back to smashing. They'll go right back to it. They'll launch that afternoon.
And as you talked about World War II, and you referenced that, this destruction that's happened in Gaza and the surrounding areas is on the level of World War II destruction. How many years did it take to rebuild those countries, those European nations that had been absolutely decimated during the fight of World War II? It's going to be the same thing here. It's not as big an area, so it probably won't take quite as long, but this is decades of rebuilding.
Well, now the methods were different, but if you ever want to go back and look up World War II Dresden, a place that the Allied powers decided we're going to firebomb it, in part because we don't want these people to continue their work for this government. That was an area where they were manufacturing so much for the war that the Allies were, if we can break the will of these people to show up to work, to kill as many of them as possible, that's what we're going to do. That's the level of destruction that you have in Gaza.
Yeah.
Where you have entire city blocks that are just rubble. There's just nothing there.
There's nothing but. And that's another thing. And we mentioned it in the last segment of the last hour, but it's worth mentioning again right now. How long does it take to get all that rubble, all that concrete and twisted steel of buildings removed? Just that part of it is going to be years, I would imagine. And then to rebuild it all is decades and decades. And then you have the tunnel network underneath Gaza. I want to say is it 350 miles of tunnels that somewhere in there.
Extensive.
Don't quote me on the exact number, but somewhere in there, 350 miles worth of terrorist network tunnels that are under. You can't build on top of that. There's no way to build on top of that. That there's something that has to be done to that. Is it, do you go down and blow it all up? I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
Well, that's step 10.
Yeah, right.
So we're a ways away from step 10.
No, I know, but you can't help but think about it.
I think in most of these cases, just like any time else we've had these peace deals, it's kind of one day at a time.
Yeah.
It really is one step at a time.
Right.
Can you get to the next one? Because step 9 is the full Israeli withdrawal. Now, you noticed it's not full right now, because if any point this thing falls apart, like I said, the Israelis
Right
ready
back
to
at
push
it.
the button and go
That's
right back at it with you.
And the beauty of that is, beauty's not the right word. The benefit of that, if the Israelis were to have to do that, if something fell through, and God, please don't let that be the case, you have the blessing of the Arab nations that have said, yes, if Hamas were to do this,
go at them.
Go get them. Because they are sick of it too, Los. We've talked about this forever, how Jordan and Egypt do not want the Palestinians there because of the hell that has been caused through them and by them in many cases. So now you've got the entire, for the most part, the entire Arab world saying, we support this, and if they screw it up, it is on them. I don't know that I've ever heard the Arabs not in this way. Not in this way. Not in this level. Not in this way. Exactly
not in this way.
So that's something that Hamas and those people that are potentially saying, how do we blow this up? How do we stop this? As Donald Trump addresses the Israeli parliament right now, we've never had that before, where the Arabs were just willing to let Israel do, and still while recognizing their right to exist.
Well, look what Israel did over the last 2+ years. You're looking at dismantling and going after terrorist networks all through the region. And to a certain extent, that benefits those people that are in charge in these other countries, where you had one of the greatest operations in like the history of intelligence with the pagers and the cell phone bombs.
Unbelievable, dude.
Like, you established a terrorist network, then you waited, then you called.
Dude, the patience to pull that off is legendary. That is on par with how many times have we heard in Afghanistan, places like that, terrorists say, "Oh, you got the watch, we have the time."
Well,
the Israelis took a page.
The Mossad were like, "Well, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll take a page out of your book.
We'll establish as many people to have these devices as possible,
and blow them all up at one time.
Blow them all up at one time."
Haha. Dude, it's unbelievable. It really is remarkable. I've never seen, read, or heard of anything like that before in my life. It was really, really extraordinary. Like I said, Trump addressing Israeli parliament now. We'll keep an eye to that, and we'll continue this conversation. And if you've got anything you'd like to add or challenge us on, 404-741-1230 at Extra 1063 across the social media platforms.
Tug will fight you.
Yes, I will. I'm in fighting mood today.
404-741-1230. He will fight you.
If I need to. I've got this Rain energy drink. My blood pressure's all up. My caffeine's all up. Man, I'm ready to go.
I went to bed last night like 10:15, which means I went over the 6-hour mark. Well, I'm ready to go.
Let me tell you, Lowe's came in loaded for bear this morning.
I know tonight I will be watching that Falcons game at 7:15, which means by the time I do post game, probably closer to like 11:30 midnight. Oh, I'll be tired.
Tomorrow I'll be dragging a little bit.
I might a little bit.
Not today, though.
But not today.
That's why he came in guns a-blazing. We have watched so many layers of the Georgia-Auburn game, and we've listened to the clowns all across social media. And maybe some other places.
Maybe some others we know rather well.
So, some other places saying things that just don't make sense, and Los has been calling them on it. Calling them on the carpet, like that show you used to be a part of.
Just review.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it only takes a couple extra minutes you can go on YouTube. You can watch the post game. You can hear what the coach had to say. Now, there are parts that I take issue with. When Kirby Smart talked about in post game, well, I didn't need to burn a time out there, but you did, and I saw you, and you did need to.
And you did.
You were down to a second left.
That's right. Yep.
I get it why you did it, but then in post game to act like you didn't need to, no, you did.
Yeah, right.
What do you want? 3rd and 14?
Well, yeah,
is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's a horrible plan.
But they're messing with your signals?
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, there's give and take for sure everywhere. There's the ability to see what you want to see and then see what really happened.
And there's a reminder that I have from X. You remember last year when you had the crazy non-call in Austin?
Yes.
And they started throwing stuff on the field, and the refs, in order to get the game back under control, decided after clearing the bottles to then make the call that was not called initially?
Yep.
It's like, wait a minute, that's not a review. Pass interference wasn't reviewable. Suddenly it's, hey, they threw a bunch of bottles. Let's call it pass interference. And what did Georgia do? Buckled up the chin strap, just went out and beat them.
Which is exactly what they did in the second half of the Auburn game.
They threw trash on the field to get a call reversed.
It worked. they'll probably try it again. All you have to do is teach somebody how to do it. They'll continue to do it. Morning Xtra, Xtra 106.3. J.D. Vance was active this weekend. If you watched any of the weekend news Sunday shows, you saw him everywhere. He was notably the one that stood out to me, the one that I watched a whole bunch, was the Kristen Welker interview. But there was parts of this one on ABC, Los, that was just like, wait, what just happened?
I would like to believe that when we have people that join our radio show, we're going to try and talk about the things that are the most pertinent until the very end, which will bring up, for instance, UFC fighting or
like
the Georgia football games coming up.
With Burt Jones.
Right. We never start with, so tell us about what you thought about this game or whatever the ancillary topic is. Like, the idea is to ask the three most important things in your three first questions. If you're not doing that, you're doing interviews wrong. George Stephanopoulos has J.D. Vance, the vice president of the country. He has an opportunity to talk with him about shutdowns, about Middle Eastern peace, about what's going on in the marketplace. And George Stephanopoulos decides, let me take a story that's been largely debunked from a month ago of Tom Homan took a $50,000 bribe in order to... All right, you have enough people now that have pointed out this is silly. This is like living in Mother Jones' internet board land. That's where George Stephanopoulos is basically deciding, okay, if I'm going to appeal to these people, I should ask these type of questions. This was J.D. Vance's response to such.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You're focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
Immediately,
George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Wouldn't let him finish.
And immediately dumps out on the Vice President of the United States.
But this is a guy that worked in the Clinton administration. Do not be surprised by this. That's who he is.
At some point, and I'm glad that you now have the administration that we saw make this move during the run-up to the 2024 election. Why are you on Theo Vaughn? Why are you on Joe Rogan? Why are you hitting the podcast? Why are you talking to the independent journalists? Because this is the only area to get a fair shake.
That's exactly
This
right.
is the only area.
You go on ABC News, if you're J.D. Vance, you are going to be treated poorly.
Here's the gotcha question.
That's right. And then when you get them, when the gotcha don't work, and you actually bounce pass it right back to them, and they have nothing but we're going to go to break. You hear J.D. Vance trying to respond, trying to talk to George Stephanopoulos, and no, he goes to break anyway. Dude, these people, I love the fact that J.D. Vance started that, knowing what was going to happen, knowing he wasn't going to get a fair shake, saying, George, this is why nobody watches your program.
Right.
This is why nobody watches your network.
This is why you're in trouble.
I love that. I love the fact that he is not afraid to call them out.
No, and this is the mentality that you have to have. Now, granted, you do have J.D. Vance going, all right, I'm going to get in front of the nation, and I'm going to answer the questions. The problem is the questions aren't pertinent to anyone who's currently, if you happen to be a military family, and as of now, you do have the Trump administration looking to see how do we get you money.
Atlanta reporter here in town pissed off about it. We'll get to that later in the show. But
how do we get you the money through the tariff system? How do we make sure that you don't miss a paycheck for families that are largely living paycheck to paycheck? Especially as you brought it up. What'd you make? You said it was $15,000?
Last year, I was an E5, a second-class petty officer. and I made $15,000. I didn't even know this. You know how they send you the little statement, your Social Security statement, and you're supposed to verify this about what you made each year for your life? It said 15. I'd never seen it before. It's probably about 5-6 years ago. I was like, holy Lord, how did I live on that?
Now, I don't believe the pay is the exact same. It's changed.
You're exactly right. It's gone up. President Bush gave him a raise. Trump may have to in the first administration. Big, beautiful bill. Big pay raise for our military, which is great.
But I would ask the question, why am I having to move back in with my mom because y'all keep arguing in D.C.?
Mike Collins, when he was on, he said the same thing. We have military men and women that are using food stamps. And I saw it myself under the Clinton administration, which is where I served. I had friends who had families, and they were on WIC, and they were on food stamps. They were on a bunch of different things trying to feed their families.
Listen, if I was a far left media member, as George Stephanopoulos is, you know what I would say? Vice President Vance, what do you have to say to the military families that are getting ready to miss a paycheck? Instead, he's talking about a largely debunked deal from a month ago that is really only message board fodder. You have the Vice President of the United States. There's better ways to do this. Like, if I was going to skin the cat, I would go after some areas where I know, hey, these are going to be sensitive talking points. Yeah. And it's probably it might even hurt him politically. Yet you went down a road that largely comes across as conspiracy theory.
He's been reading The Atlantic.
It's just silly.
Nothing else going on.
So silly.
But that's who he is. That's who they are. That's why J.D. Vance is so right. Nobody pays attention to them.
It's wild that I know how to fight the right harder than they do, or at least more efficiently, or smarter.
We'll sit them down on the couch maybe and teach them one day.
Like, guys, you got to go after our real pain points. And y'all miss on these. Every single time you're like, what do you mean you don't think that men should be in women's restrooms? I don't. Okay, let's move on.
Next.
It's like, you got to start fighting smarter here if you want to. I guess you don't know where my goat lives. And since you don't know where my goat lives, you can't get my goat.
That's exactly right. Donald Trump addressing the Israeli parliament right now as we speak, and we will keep tabs on that. The hostages, the 20 remaining living hostages, have been released. They're going to spend moments with their families and then are going to get individualized medical care. And I can only imagine how much medical care these people are going to need for many, many years. The mental health issues that come along with this kind of treatment for a couple of years now. A leftist newspaper man is mad that Trump's going to pay the troops in the Schumer shutdown. I was surprised to see this. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not surprised at all. Next on Xtra 106.3.
Xtra 106.3 is proud to be a community station that shares your values. This is your station, talking about issues and stories that are most important to you and your family. Stream us live on our all-new app in crystal clear HD and always live on your radio at 106.3 FM.
Atlanta, good morning. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Cub Cadet. If you're looking for a mower that's built to last, look no further than Cub Cadet. And where do you pick up Cub Cadet in their full lineup? Over at Howard Brothers. They've got the Cub Cadet lineup that delivers power, performance, and precision. But here's also the best part. When you buy from Howard Brothers, you're not just getting the mower, okay? The mower's cool. You take that home. That's great. But you're also getting the service, the support, and a team of people that can help you long after the sale. So each season, when it's time to make sure that mower is in tip-top working order, that is what Howard Brothers is able to do. You're getting the entire package when you buy that Cub Cadet. So buy it where you can service it. That's over at Howard Brothers, serving your community since 1955.
Go beyond just a baseball game with your Atlanta Braves and check out Truist Park's Ballpark Tour. See the ballpark like never before and explore the franchise's rich history with artifacts, exhibits, and more, led by tour guides who will take you to places behind the scenes that most fans have never seen before, including the press box, premium club spaces, and of course, step onto the field where your favorite Braves players battle it out during the season. And each tour comes with a complimentary player chain necklace. Visit braves.com/tours to purchase your tickets today. And did you know Truist Park can host your next event? As a year-round facility, we host private events ranging from corporate meetings, trade shows, team building events, holiday parties, rehearsal dinners, you name it, Truist Park can host it. Visit braves.com/events to get started on creating an experience like never before with one of Truist Park's unique venues. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Brandon Hutchison, Executive Vice President and General Manager of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Make no mistake about it, we're big customers of Georgia Power. It really is a true partnership. We've ran NASCAR's highest level of racing. In the early days of Atlanta Motor Speedway, Atlanta International Raceway, as it were, they raced twice a year, and that was about it. Right. And then we started figuring out that this is an 850-acre campus that can do so much more. And it's not just the larger events that impact the region. It's the local events that really impact our community. It's a big responsibility for us to be such a big player in our community. And there's no doubt that Georgia Power has fan experience front of mind all the time.
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
Experience luxury like never before behind the wheel of a brand new Cadillac from Jim Ellis Cadillac.
From the iconic Escalade to the innovative electric Lyric, Jim Ellis Cadillac offers the models you know and love, along with the latest in luxury EVs.
And the buying experience just as luxurious as the Cadillac name itself. With great prices, a great selection, and a team of knowledgeable sales associates, you'll love shopping at their showroom conveniently located on Peachtree Boulevard, just inside the perimeter.
Prefer to shop from home? Visit JimEllisCadillac.com, where you can browse all the latest offers and even start or complete your entire purchase online with the Jim Ellis Expressway.
Want to try before you buy? Schedule an at-home test drive and enjoy the convenience of home vehicle delivery. Luxury is waiting. Experience it today at Jim Ellis Cadillac. Jim Ellis Cadillac, where you can always expect the best.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, October 13th. A 26-year-old man was arrested for vandalizing the Martin Luther King Jr. burial site. Authorities say Brent Jones urinated in the reflecting pool and then stomped on the eternal flame, damaging it. The King Center remains open for visitors. A new survey ranks Georgia among the lowest states for binge drinking, with only 15% of adults reporting that behavior. The survey, based on CDC and Mental Health America data, put Georgia 9th lowest nationally. Researchers define binge drinking as 4 or more drinks for women or 5 or more drinks for men in a single occasion. And the Savannah Bananas will be back at Truist Park in 2026 for a 3-game series from May 8th to 10th. The Banana Ball Tour is also expanding to 6 teams. Fans can enter a ticket lottery on the league's website to secure seats for the Atlanta games as soon as submissions open. Today's weather clear and sunny with highs in the upper 70s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. Your president is speaking in front of the Israeli parliament. We're going to go to him live now on Extra 106.3.
But you used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them. And you obviously used them very well. But so many that Israel became strong and powerful, which ultimately led to peace. That's what led to peace. So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began. 2 years ago, on the eve of the Simchat Torah holiday, thousands of innocent Israeli civilians were attacked by terrorists, and one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever seen, the worst slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core of humanity itself. Nobody could believe what they were witnessing. The United States of America grieved alongside you, and we mourned for our own citizens who were so viciously taken that day. And to all the families whose lives were forever changed by the atrocities of that day, and all of the people of Israel, please know that America joins you in those 2 everlasting vows. never forget and never again. From October 7th until this week, Israel has been a nation at war, enduring burdens that only a proud and faithful people could withstand. It was a very tough period of time. For so many families across this land, it has been years since you've known a single day of true peace. But now at last, not only for Israelis, but also for Palestinians and for many others, the long and painful nightmare is finally over. And as the dust settles, the smoke fades, the debris is removed, and the ashes cleaned from the air, the day that breaks on a region transformed and a beautiful and much brighter future appears suddenly within your reach. This is now a very exciting time for Israel and for the entire Middle East, because all across the Middle East, the forces of chaos, terror, and ruin that have plagued the region for decades now stand weakened, isolated, and totally defeated. A new coalition of proud and responsible nations is emerging, and because of us, the enemies of all civilization are in retreat. Thanks to the bravery and incredible skill of the Israeli Defense Forces and Operation Rising Lion, guy's central casting. Let's put him in a movie. Look at him. Great job. And my people loved working with you. Loved it.
You're listening to Donald Trump speaking to the Israeli parliament right here on the Morning Xtra.
Many of Iran's top terrorists, including nuclear scientists and commanders, have been extinguished from this earth. And with Operation Midnight Hammer, boy, that's a great name for that, what we did last June. The United States military flew 7 of those beautiful B-2 bombers. They look so beautiful all of a sudden. They were always, I thought they were pretty planes. I had no idea they could do what they did. In fact, we just ordered 28 more of them. A little updated version. We ordered a whole pile of them. And almost 100 other planes went with them, including fighter jets. And we had 52 tankers, big, beautiful, brand new tankers that were loading them up 4 or 5 times. They've traveled 37 hours back and forth. Think of that. But we had tankers all over the sky for all the other planes. We had the F-22s, the F-35s, F-16s. We had a hell of a lot of planes. So we had 52 gas stations in the sky. That's what they call them. I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be flying one of them. We have our great General Raisin Cain right here. General, stand up. This guy, what a general. Thank you. I asked General Cain, I said, we're having problems with ISIS, and I was in Washington, and I asked, how long would it take to defeat ISIS? And my Washington generals told me, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, sir. I said, I don't get it. We got the best equipment in the world. Why? So I flew to Iraq, and I met with a man named Cain. He said, what's your first name? He said, they call me Raisin, sir. I said, wait a minute, your name is Raisin Cain? I've been looking for you for a long time. You gotta be kidding. So they told me 3, 4, 5 years to defeat ISIS. And I sit down with him and I say, why is it? I flew there in the dark of night. I landed, I'll never forget it. It was quite a trip. I'm glad I made it because I met him. I said, could I ask you, General? I come down. He said with another general and a sergeant. Everybody was like central casting. They could go into a movie right now. Between him and you guys over here, we could get rich making movies, okay? And they got along so great. That's the beautiful thing, that your military and our military, Bibi, got along so great. But I was told by the television generals in Washington, we have the best equipment in the world. Why is it taking so long? And they said, 4 years. I said, so let me ask you, Raisin, how long would it take you to defeat ISIS? Sir, we can do it in 3 weeks, but you'll probably have some time left over. I said, you got to be kidding. What the
Listening to Donald Trump deliver.
Now he's spinning tails.
Yeah, that's right, delivering a message.
This is the entertainment portion of the show.
Which always comes.
Yes.
In a Trump speech, he's always gets sidetracked on something. Whether it's the big, beautiful gas stations in the sky or those big, beautiful B-2 bombers that delivered the munitions that took out the Iranian nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer. But I wrote down some of the
28
things.
more on the way.
Ordering 28 more, exactly.
It's funny that he starts by complimenting their operations, the Israelis, against Hamas, and then it's like, and let me tell you about what we did for you.
That's right. Yeah. Quickly. And rightfully so, man. He's a proud man. You should be proud of what we were able to do to help the Israelis and to secure peace. But he said Israel being strong and powerful led to peace. That's where we joined him. And he also mentioned the cruelty of October 7th. That's something that I think those protesters on college campuses and people like that miss. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to be the biggest backer of Israel. I think they're our greatest ally in the Middle East. We should be. But you can't look over the cruelty, and I'm glad that he said it, the cruelty of October 7th. And it was an absolutely cruel, dehumanizing day that should happen never.
Well, the Israelis went to their playbook. And what's the playbook? When you visit them with cruelty, let's just say a thimble's worth, you're going to get a gallon back. That's how they've existed. That's always been their existence. Whatever you do to them, they do to you 10, 20, 100-fold. That is never once changed. That's always, whether you go through Munich, go through any of the situation when it came to the Holocaust, and them going around the world, the Mossad, to go track down anyone and everyone who was involved in any of it. So you think suddenly that it's going to alter just because we're now, it's 2023 at the time? Well, we're so much more civilized. No, this is how they exist.
I want the United States to be the same way. I'm not kidding. When somebody imposes some sort of cruelty on the United States or attacks the United States, I want the same thing, man. I want to drop the hammer so hard that they never even consider doing it again. They are like, hey, remember that time? Let's not do that again.
It's just a different, and I think this is the lesson of Vietnam. Once that happens, we start to have public sentiment sour because
I get it.
Because we're a Judeo-Christian society, and people will look at it and think that war is supposed to be clean.
Well, that's non-existent.
Yeah,
war being clean.
Well,
that doesn't exist.
Listen, they saw Commando on TV.
So they believe.
They saw Rambo. They saw whatever.
All's well that ends well.
This is how we fight the just war. Yeah. Just because you saw, John Wayne leading the troops on the longest day, or it's like, this is how we fight these wars. These are all just. It's not how it goes.
Ever.
Not how it works.
It's not ever. But I understand what you're saying about the sentiment souring. I get it.
There's a mentality that is in this country that the Israelis do not share that.
Call me a broken man because I am okay with it. And I know that cooler heads probably will prevail in situations like that and should. But me as a broken man and as a guy that says you better beat them to the point where they never want to do it again. And I think the way the Israelis handle it is right. And to your point, support for Israel has shrunk even in this country because of it.
Yes, it has.
My support of Israel has went up because of it.
The Israelis don't have a problem with it because they know the realism of the scenario.
That's right. They didn't watch the John Wayne movie.
No. But
they've lived.
But the reason why you have notably conservatives on our side that have curtailed their support for Israel is because they're upset over their level of cruelty that they revisited on Hamas because of the actions of October 7th. What I'm telling you is know the history.
That's right.
It's gross. But the Israelis, whatever you do to them, they do back to you. Tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold.
Which I'm fully behind and in full support of.
They have to make it a point that you, as their opponent, do not try anything else. Like the Egyptians found out.
Yep.
The Jordanians found. The rest of the region's like, don't mess with them.
Yes.
Leave them alone.
That's right. Absolutely. And we're going to as well. And they have, by and large. And a region transformed. Donald Trump talked about that. And he also talked about never forget, never again. That's exactly what that sentiment about we're going to pummel them for what they do. Because, dude, that October 7th wasn't just an attack. There's been plenty of just attacks. And not that any of them are okay. But there's a difference in the attacks that we've seen and then this organized, we're going to be so subhuman in the things that we do that Israel said, never again.
We've had a friend of mine who has been on this show, and she spent her 2 years with the IDF, and what was one of the things she would do? You man a checkpoint. Now, why are you armed to the teeth? Why was her sidearm an Uzi? Because checkpoints routinely get hit by Hamas.
They do.
It's just part of what happens. Hey, today we're going to hit an Israeli checkpoint just to cause problems, but not, hey, we're going to take gliders in to a music festival and gun down as many young people as possible. Yeah.
Slaughter civilians. And maybe my experience working with the Israelis when I was in the Navy gives me a bit of, understanding, sympathy for them, because I remember them going with us everywhere we went when we pulled into Haifa, Israel. And we'd already gotten threats to the ship. Hey, we're going to blow up a busload of sailors and all this stuff. So we couldn't even go down to Jerusalem. We had to stay in the north of Israel the whole time. But every place we went, we had multiple IDF soldiers armed to the tilt, just like you're talking about. And they would tell us, man, if anything happens,
they're pros.
Don't worry. We are going to take care of. We will take care of you. We will make sure that you're fine.
They have a certain level of training.
So you have to forgive me if I'm sympathetic to them, because I know what they go through and I know how they defended me as a person. My individual self.
I really, because we got caught up in the Trump audio and everything, I really need to hear about this newspaper.
Yeah.
This newspaper they were planning on hitting. Let's hit this.
We'll get to that next on Extra 106.3. A newspaper man here in Atlanta, of all places, says he's mad, says he's upset that Donald Trump is going to pay our men and women in uniform. Next on Extra 106.3.
Latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, October 13th. We get a Monday night sort of doubleheader that will feature the Atlanta Falcons, as the Falcons are at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo does come in with a 4-1 record. The Falcons are 2-2. Buffalo's currently a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That game will kick off at 7:15. Then 1 hour later in the evening, you will have the Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears. The Bears 2-2 on the season. The Commanders are 3-2. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite for this ball game. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, this is John Flading. I'm the president and owner of ATL Turf Co. We have become a highly sought-after turf installation company in the Atlanta and North Georgia luxury residential market. Big reason for that is our installers are ATL Turf Co. employees. We do not outsource labor. They are trained to be experts in the turf installation process, drainage, grading. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if you've got old, drafty, sticky, or leaking windows, you need the experienced pros at Window Nation. You can pay a lot less and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90Nation for your free estimate. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus no payments for 2 years.
Looking for the perfect car, truck, or SUV? Jim Ellis Buick GMC has you covered. With a huge selection of new and used vehicles, finding the right fit is easy.
Whether it's a Buick Enclave or Envision, a GMC Acadia or Yukon, or the power of the Sierra and Canyon trucks, and the best part, you're never alone in the process.
Their expert sales team helps match you with the right vehicle, while their finance specialists make buying simple and stress-free.
With decades of experience, Jim Ellis Buick GMC understands the importance of offering an expansive inventory that fits every driving performance, style, and budget need. Plus, every new Buick and GMC comes with cutting-edge technology, premium comfort, and advanced safety features so you can drive with confidence.
Already a Buick or GMC owner? Well, keep it running like new with their state-of-the-art service center staffed by factory-trained technicians who know your vehicle inside and out. Start your search at JimEllisBuickGMC.com or shop in person in Chamblee off Peachtree Boulevard, inside the Perimeter, or in Beaufort off Highway 20 near 985. Jim Ellis, Buick GMC, we are professional grade.
Join Daniel Madelon, CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and co-host Tug Cowart as they bring together law enforcement, justice insiders, and voices from every part of the justice system, victims, advocates, and people who've turned their lives around. It's not PR, it's not fluff. It's an honest talk about what's working, what's broken, and how to build a better path forward, one second chance at a time. This week's guest is Cobb County District Attorney Sonia Allen. Justice Unfiltered. Unfiltered, informed, and unbiased.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at ATLbail.com.
Attention extra listeners. The end of the year is closing in. Are your retirement plans ready? We at Master Plan Retirement Consultants are holistic retirement planners, including income and growth planning, tax strategies, and estate and legacy planning. Each piece of the retirement puzzle must fit together cohesively because we know a change in one area can inevitably affect the others. Our boutique team serves you with fiduciary care, ensuring every step moves you closer to a confident, sustainable retirement. Don't wait. There's still time to adjust your plan before year end. Schedule your complimentary consultation now at masterplanretire.com. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Tomorrow, we reflect on the life of Charlie Kirk on what would have been his 32nd birthday. Gone far too young, Charlie represented an unabashed pride in the American way of life, unafraid to speak out, and contributed so much to the conservative movement. His legacy lives on in the voices of conservatives across the nation and right here in Atlanta, on your only home for conservative news and talk. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Seems crazy to think that Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. And the fact that tomorrow would have been his birthday, so I guess his heavenly birthday, if you want to present it like that. I've never done that necessarily, but the fact that Charlie would have been 33, I do believe.
32.
32. Tomorrow is something else. A guy that in that short amount of time had the impact that he did on so many people, so many young men specifically, including my own son. So when I think about Charlie Kirk, I think about greatness. I think about love of country. I think about love of God in heaven. He was certainly a faithful man. But I tell you, man, the impact that he made on country music it cannot be overlooked. Over the weekend, there were countless people that were on tour that made mention of the name of Charlie Kirk, from Travis Tritt, who lives here in town, saying, I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better follower, a better Christian. I want to be a better man because of what Charlie Kirk did. Nate Smith, who's on tour with Jason Aldean, same thing. There are just so many people. I bet there was 10 or 15. Justin Moore, who's from Arkansas, huge Razorback fan, moved back to Arkansas just to get away from the craziness of Nashville, huge Braves fan. Same way. Cole Swindell from South Georgia wrote a song called Make Heaven Crowded that I was able to play this weekend on country radio, all about Charlie Kirk.
You don't have to go on campus and debate with students. You don't have to start a radio show. You don't have to start your own television network. All the message ever is just pay attention and try and do better.
That's it, man. It's not hard.
Pay attention, try and do better.
That's exactly right.
It does not require... Not saying you have to spend every single day with the New York Times or with Morning Joe. We do that for you.
Yeah, that's right. So you don't have to put up with that BS.
But if that means that you're just making a point to be a little bit more informed about what's going on in the world, to make you a more informed and a more dangerous voter. When you know what's going on, man, you're dangerous.
Yeah, you are.
Let's face it.
Especially to the left.
I like it when you're dangerous.
Dude, they are terrified of you knowing.
That's the legacy.
Yeah,
that's part of it. Beat them with your words and ideas.
Tell you what my family did, and we're notorious for being very shy about talking about faith. Outside, like here, I obviously share my faith with regularity and everywhere too, but my wife is not that way. She's very, very quiet. She's very, very reserved. Unless you know her, she might not say two words to you. She's just very reserved. 2 weeks ago, she invited a friend to church. She had never done that I know of. She had never done that in her life. And that friend went again with us this week. So the tiniest nuggets, man.
I'd stop saying good morning to your wife.
Because she won't say anything back.
Well, for 3 years, I've told her good morning every morning, and she says good morning back. But she never initiates.
Oh, yeah.
So I've just decided I'm not going to bother anymore.
Right. I'm telling you, man.
I'm just going to let it go.
It's early, too. That's the other thing. Maybe hit her in the afternoon. It'd probably work a little
I'm just not going to be the one to
you got to get that cup of coffee
foolish about having to say, hey, good morning.
So you got to get that cup of coffee in her. But let's talk about a guy that has been in the Atlanta market for years and years. And I was surprised to see his tweet. That'd be Jamie Dupree. Been on the air in Atlanta for years, been writing for the AJC for years. Mad that Trump found a way to pay troops during the shutdown. I was so floored by this. I was like, whose side are you on?
This is the Bortz guy.
Dude, yes.
For a long time.
He and Bortz were super tight.
Yes.
And even Neal's like, I don't know what happened to the guy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
So Donald Trump shares this on Truth Social. Chuck Schumer recently said every day gets better during their radical shutdown. I disagree. Nothing is better because of, quote, leader Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. Our brave troops will miss paychecks they are rightfully due on October 15th. That's why I'm using my authority as Commander-in-Chief to direct the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to use all available funds to get our troops paid on the 15th. And he goes on. Jamie Dupree says, maybe someone can cite the section of federal law that allows the president to use unused Pentagon funds to pay the military for the new fiscal year without congressional approval. Dude, what? Are you kidding me right now? You have a problem with the federal government, the commander-in-chief of our United States military. You have a problem with him moving funds inside the Pentagon, or for me, I don't care where they come from. Get our men and women in uniform paid.
This is where I ask the question, because it's legitimate that Congress decides where revenue goes, where tax revenue goes. Well, when there isn't a Congress,
I'm going to say, when
there
don't have a Congress
isn't
right
an
now.
active government,
That's right.
how is that not falling into the power of the executive branch that is still operating? And the only reason you're complaining about it is because you believe it'll score points for the Democrats for average, everyday, regular servicemen and women to not have a paycheck. You think the more they hurt, the more pressure it'll cause.
Instead of taking the opposite tact of saying, these dudes, these women put their lives on the line for our nation daily. And you can say, well, Tug, they're not always in war zones. No, but they're always doing operations. They're always doing exercises. They're always training. And with that training comes danger of a mother or a father not coming home. How many times have you seen military exercises end in death? It happens, unfortunately. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it, but it does happen. These men and women in uniform deserve their paycheck. Good for Donald Trump for not listening to freaking Jamie Dupree or anybody like him saying we're going to fix the problem. If you Democrats won't fix the problem, damn it, I'll do it.
And this is the opposite end of the spectrum. We had the scenario where the Biden administration was looking to spend our taxpayer dollars without the consent of Congress to pay for student loan debt. Now, by the way, there wasn't a shutdown. There wasn't any sort of scenario in which Congress was not active. Yet they went around the congressional responsibility that Congress has. Now, the Supreme Court ended up striking it down a couple of different times. Yet the Biden administration was still attempting to do this.
I don't care. They struck it. He even said it in a speech, if you recall.
I don't care.
I don't care what they said.
But that is wildly unpopular with the populous nation. All right? It's different when we're talking about getting money to our men and women in service. It just is. And so if you want to tell me which is a political winner, obviously that is. That's what's making the left lose their minds. It's because the things that they advocated for under Joe Biden, once you've opened up Pandora's box and you're saying, hey, why don't we get the Supreme Court? I tell you what, why don't you file and the Supreme Court will address it in 3 or 4 months?
That's right.
Right?
Go ahead.
That's what's upsetting them. File your grievance. Let it go through the courts the same way that you had the scenario with paying for student loans. And in 3 or 4 months, they'll rule on it, and Trump won't be allowed to do it anymore. Not that he'll need to.
It's incredible that they choose I wouldn't even say 20% issue on this one. I bet if you ask most Americans, I bet this is a 90-10 issue. But Jamie Dupree and the Democrats are like, no, they must suffer. we must make them suffer because that benefits us. That benefits our side. I don't care that it doesn't benefit our men and women in uniform that we've asked to do these incredible tasks, these incredible things. It doesn't matter. We want the win. And they're taking the 20% side of an 80-20 issue again. Again, dude. They cannot get out of their own way.
I like the law. I always will side with the law. Of
course.
I will point out where the law is not going to work for Donald Trump. I bring that up with some of the moves that he's tried to make. I'm like, this is going to get struck down. This is not going to work. In this case, in this scenario, you're only doing to the left what they already did to us when it came to student debt. And now, it was fortunate. Supreme Court said you can't do it. All right, let's see when the Supreme Court says we can't pay our servicemen and women, and let's see how good that looks for the Democrats to complain about. He went around Congress. He's paying our men and women who are in service to the country. Damn right he is.
Democrats hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown. The radical left Democrats should open the government, and we can work to address health care and many other things they want to destroy. Thank you for your attention to this matter, which is the best way to end every social media post, and he has gotten good at ending it that way. I love it. I feel like we need something on the station that always says, thank you for your attention to this matter.
It really is the punctuator of, I know this is going to upset them, and good.
That's right. That's exactly what I want it to.
He's like, make sure you pay attention to this because I know it's going to upset you.
The frustration on the left has led to violence against the right. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10. Grateful that you're here. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
It's me, Neil Bortz, your favorite neighborhood mythbuster. I know you've seen the videos of those houses on stilts in the North Carolina Outer Banks crumbling into the sea. And while you were watching those videos, the narration on TV was more than likely that this is being caused by rising sea levels. You know, the Arctic sea ice is melting. Well, actually, it's not. The last couple of years, it's been increasing. But what is happening to those homes? When they were originally built, they were a long way off the beach, behind a bunch of sand dunes. So what happened? Erosion. hurricanes, storms. This has been happening to beaches for millennia. And by the way, they've been uninhabited for years. Just another attempt by the media to meet up with the demands of the left-wing overlords that want to preach to us about climate change. The sea levels, my friends, have not risen. Maybe a quarter of an inch. So many predictions that never came true. Let's go back. Ice-free Arctic by 2013. That was the prediction from Al Gore and others. Sorry, didn't happen. Al Gore in 2006, remember his movie, An Inconvenient Truth? There would be no more snow on Kilimanjaro. Sorry, still snow on Kilimanjaro. Rising seas will submerge the Maldives by 2018. Didn't happen. That was according to models, none of which came true. Mass starvation due to climate change in the 1970s and the 1980s. Again, didn't happen. Millions of climate refugees by 2020. Sorry, didn't happen. Yet the left, the people seeking even more government power over our everyday activities, continue to insist that the world is coming to an end due to climate change, probably by next week. Keep believing them, people. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
It's October 13th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is Train Your Brain Day. It's estimated that the average brain thinks between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts every day, and this day was created to bring attention and celebrate the incredible power of the brain. On this day in 1792, the cornerstone for the White House is laid for the presidential residence in the newly designed city of Washington, D.C., which was created to replace Philadelphia as the nation's capital. 69 days after a collapse of a mine in Chile, all 33 workers stranded 2,300 feet underground are brought to the surface in 2010. Born on this day in 1969, Nancy Kerrigan, the Olympic hopeful, was attacked by a man in Detroit who smacked the back of her knee with a club. He was hired by the ex-husband of skating rival Tonya Harding, who claimed she didn't know about the attack. Kerrigan won the silver at the '94 Olympics despite the attack. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
This is a Fox News alert. Hamas sets the hostages free, and President Trump is in Israel to celebrate with them. I'm Dave Anthony.
Today, the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace.
The president also just told Israel's parliament,
this is the end of the age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
And President Trump, who's still addressing lawmakers in the Knesset now, also thanked
all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect.
And he'll soon meet some of them going to Egypt next. Now, as part of the Trump-brokered ceasefire plan, Israel's also releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners into Gaza, where the Hamas terror attack triggered, also killed 67,000 Palestinians. News of the 20 living hostages being freed was celebrated in Israel. People cheered and chanted and sang there in Tel Aviv, but what about the remains of the 28 hostages Hamas is also supposed to hand over in the first phase of the ceasefire? Well, a statement from hostage families just out says they're shocked and dismayed that only 4 bodies will be returned today. For a 13th straight day, most of the federal government is closed, and the next vote to end the shutdown is tomorrow in the Senate, where Republicans and Democrats remain in a standoff over funding. Some workers deemed essential are still on the job, including federal investigators at the scene of Friday's explosion at a munitions plant in McEwen, Tennessee, west of Nashville, that left 16 people dead.
Because we are, in fact, in a government shutdown, that does not release any of these dedicated professionals from showing up and, again, providing answers to this community on what happened to their loved ones.
ATF Assistant Special Agents in Charge, Tyra Cunningham. America's listening to Fox News.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
For hourly Fox News updates and the best in conservative news and talk, keep it on Xtra 1063 or download the Xtra 1063 app.
Biggest stories of the day, certainly the rescue of the hostages that were held by Hamas that have been sent home to their parents, to their loved ones, to their families. That extraordinary Trump delivering a speech right now to address the Israeli parliament. He's still going.
Your focus is outstanding.
Dude, I'm doing my best.
Of the music
I'm doing
and the
my
topic.
best. I'm doing my best. But because last night we were just kind of winding down. My wife wasn't feeling great. She got a little bit of just the drainage, the change in weather, whatever's made her have a sore throat. So she had taken like some NyQuil. And then she was fading.
Oh, she started seeing the world as a cartoon?
Yes. She had started fading. And I flipped on, there's this free channel that that is on, what do we have, the Roku. It's called Excite, Xite, Excite. And it is all videos. From any stage, from any genre. If you want to do like the big 80s through the MTV years, they've got a playlist for it. And I turned on New Wave 80s last night, and we were listening to everything from Take On Me, that video obviously so huge, to, what else was in there? Colin Hay and Men at Work, Who Could It Be Now? You know, he's got the crazy eyes that you can't forget. Some Police stuff was in there. But I was physically listening to that song about 8:15 last night before my wife just faded.
Listen here, kids. There used to be a time where it was, how much money do I have to make a music video?
Michael Jackson, the biggest one with Thriller, I believe, was like $1 million.
How much will the studio give me, or how much do I have to come out of pocket to make a music video?
That's right.
That was a big deal.
It was the most important, probably.
Yeah. I'm going to commit this amount of money for you to make a music video. In fact, we're about 20 years removed, 25 years removed. VH1 had a competition show. It was like one of the first music competition shows. Before you had like the American Idols of the world, you had bands on the run. And they would go from city to city trying to raise money. And it was a competition to see who would win. And part of what they would win is, here's a record deal plus a music video. The music video being like, wow, a professional director and we get to do a music video?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's huge, man. I remember the first time I ever met Sean Silva, who's a music video director. And at the time, he had come over, and he had directed a bunch of things. He'd come over to direct a Kenny Chesney video. This is at least 20 years ago at Wild Bill's over in Duluth, right next to, Gwinnett, over next to the mall. And right behind the mall is Wild Bill's. And Sean Silva was there, and he was grabbing footage. I don't know if any of it ever got used, but he was a guy that was just, the hottest thing going when it came to directing. So it was cool to meet him there and know that he was there filming in our backyard for something that could potentially be this grandiose video. I don't know how it turned out. So I think because the video started dying shortly after that, and nobody was spending money. MTV was gone and done for. I think I enjoyed last night just going back and watching those old ones that I grew up on. It was so nostalgic.
Let me ask you this, plus or minus 45 minutes, how much time did you spend with it? Because
probably about that. Probably right at 40, 45 minutes.
So the last time we were hearing from Donald Trump was like 45 minutes ago, and that was like 5 minutes into his speech in front of the Israeli parliament.
You know where they messed up?
He's still going.
You know where they messed up?
He's still going.
Lois, you know where they messed up. They keep giving him standing ovations.
Yes.
And all that does is add fuel to the fire. He's like, oh, they want more.
He's like, they want more.
I'm going to give them more.
Let's keep it going.
Let's give them what they want.
It's like the next standing ovation. Hey, let's play one more song.
That's right. One more hit.
Let's play one more song.
Let's go. Just complete clapping and celebrating. And look, they have good reason to. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the hostages, as an update, you now have the 20 remaining alive hostages that have been released by Hamas into the hands of the Red Cross, which you're now starting to see some of the videos of them being reunited with their family. You have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,800 prisoners that the Israelis have transported back to the Red Cross to give back to the Palestinians.
That's right. It's a pretty extraordinary day. And it's something that you're living through and that you'll probably remember for especially if this were to hold. And what we're on step 5?
We're on step 5. Yeah. The goal, obviously, there's like 20 steps, but realistically, if you can get anywhere near 10, and 10 ends up being Gaza reconstruction. Now,
that's going to be decades.
That's before full Israeli withdrawal, which doesn't really have. It's basically phased over weeks and months, tied with disarmament verification. This is where this is where the rubber meets the road. 6 is humanitarian surge into Gaza, which that's going to happen. But here's the other deal. Step 7, Hamas transition. This is where they have to demilitarize. They have to potentially let go of all of their weapons. That's still being negotiated, what they can hold on to, what they can't. You then will have to, after step 7, Hamas transition, get to the formation of the transitional committee. That committee is supposed to come together today. That's where we're going to see the makeup of it. It's supposed to be Donald Trump, supposed to be Tony Blair, supposed to be leaders from the Arab nations that are in the area. And that is what's supposed to facilitate the step to eventually get to step 10. But right now we're on 5. 6 shouldn't be a problem. 7 and 8 where the rubber is going to meet the road.
Amazing that we've gotten this far. No one's ever been able to get this far. This is the first time in our lifetime that there could be actual lasting peace. And everything hinged truly on those Arab nations being involved and getting something. Look, it's always a negotiation. They got something, we get something. It's like everything else in life. But them being on board, the Saudis, Jordanians, Turkey, Qatar, all of those countries, and others too, being involved and saying, yes, we want this peace. We want, and especially for Egypt and Jordan, holy smokes, knowing what they're up against with regularity, knowing that they have huge walls built to try to protect themselves when this craziness breaks out. But the point of them all saying, yes, we are going to recognize Israel. We want them to be able to exist in peace. We want to live a peaceful life. We've never seen anything like this, Los.
So this is a very serious show. So I bring up a very non-serious way of getting into this.
Which is my favorite.
Which really works for Jure and I, and sometimes Tug. Spaceballs. All right, so there's a Spaceballs moment here that we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Do you know the moment with Dark Helmet when he tells you, fooled you?
Yeah.
Okay, we're trying to avoid that moment with Hamas.
Yeah.
Because once we get past the humanitarian aid coming in, this is normally the part where things clack off, where you then have Hamas, whether they do it with the support of the civilian population or not, this is typically the point when they attack Israelis. We got our prisoners back. We got humanitarian aid. Here's what we got going on. Let's get this thing going again. Or let's just derail it so that we can maintain power over this area. That's where it's really going to come down to, is the civilian population that we've seen, on the Gaza Strip, throughout Gaza, who's celebrating Donald Trump as much as anyone else. Are they the ones who have now turned on Hamas and are saying the terms of this peace deal and what we have to do, if that means that Hamas is no longer winning our elections or in charge of our land, then that's the way it needs to be.
And on the cover of the Jerusalem Post, a picture, very full front of the Jerusalem Post, is Donald Trump. Above him, the American flag, and written on that flag, God bless the peacemaker. This is the man that they've told you for 10 years is a fascist, is a Nazi. The Jerusalem Post says, God bless the peacemaker. I don't know how you mix this up. Well, I know the media is trying to stir it and paint it a particular way, but with what he's doing, Los, you can't miss he's not any of those things that they've said.
Well, for a fascist Nazi, which again, those two things don't go together.
Right, of course.
So for a Nazi, he's really failing in terms of helping the Jewish people.
That's right.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Is that not what we're going to? Is that not our giant point with this?
Yeah.
So I want you to hear, though, from just the conversation that's going on in the Middle East when it comes to Donald Trump. And this is not surprising, being that the Israeli parliament, I think that's now like 100 standing ovations. Like they just did it again.
But they keep putting gas on the fire. They ain't never getting out of there.
They ain't never getting out of there. It's like he will keep you in a verbal headlock for the remainder of the afternoon if you don't stop.
It's like a Baptist preacher, boy. He sees people clapping along, and he's like, let's talk some more. I grew up with it.
Here's what it sounds like in the Middle East right now in terms of Trump.
And to President Donald J. Trump.
That's what's going on everywhere.
Dude.
At these rallies where they're having people speak about here's what the hostage situation is going to be and here's what they're going to do. And that is an Israeli crowd that's thanking him in the exact way that we were playing audio that was featuring Palestinians that were doing the same thing.
Even outlets like Politico are giving Donald Trump credit. The ship is turning. Everything is changing. And you even have, who was it over the weekend that said, stop calling him a Nazi? Maybe Fetterman. Please don't quote me on that. A prominent Democrat was like, stop calling him Nazi. It's over. It hasn't worked. And he's not.
Well, of course he's not.
On top of all of that, and he's not. So for Politico to say, dude, he's done well. Politico's not a friend or an ally of Donald Trump, but they recognize what's happening and are admitting it. Surprisingly. And then you have, I'll find out who said that, because when I said it, or when I saw it over the weekend, I was like, yeah, finally, welcome to the party, pal.
One of the biggest arguments that goes on is we'll have people trying to make Donald Trump into being something he's not. Now, I've said he's a populist. That I don't believe can be argued. He looks at the temperature of the country. He looks at the direction he believes things should go, but also what do the people want? And that's the direction he tends to move. Now, history will always point out populist movements, you can't really stomp them out. And some of the times, and this is not great, sometimes populist movements move in the way of communism. Now, it takes years for them to realize, well, that was a bad idea. But once you have a populist movement, oftentimes the government, because it is a threat to them, it is a threat to the power brokers, they will start trying to turn it into all sorts of different things. Nazism, social, fascism. Donald Trump is basically just caught what history always does to populist movements. But in this case, the populist movement is actually in the interest of a strong country that is doing better than what it was before he got here.
I'll tell you, man, I'm proud of what he's been able to accomplish. I'm proud to say I voted for him. I have no issue with that whatsoever. He's doing exactly what I wanted him to do.
He finally stopped.
Oh, well, finally.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
He finally stopped talking.
He's been going a while. I mean, he has been after it for some time.
He was almost an hour.
So crazy that he is an entertainer. I don't want to reduce what he is, because he's done extraordinary things for our country and for the world.
I only do it to bother the left.
No, I know, but he's an entertainer, man. He feeds off of media. He feeds off the energy of the crowd. He's like a performer almost.
A populist.
A populist.
He really is.
He genuinely is.
That's what it is. I tell you, right? I'm big into the idea of being an aggressive nationalist. Like, what do you mean? Well, I'm doing what's best for my country and for my people. That's what I'm interested in. And right now, populism. That is
it's happening all over the world. Too.
That is the flavor of the day.
It is,
and it was like that during his first administration. It's just you messed up. You messed up because Donald Trump was so naive to what actually Washington was and what was going to go on. And you, after getting rid of him in 2020 in the most improbable statistical anomaly of an election ever, he then got back in. He then got back in. The amount of people, I was reading this over the weekend, the amount of people that were talking about how it's crazy how much it's actually worked to deplatform Trump off of X, off of Twitter at the time. That's like 2021. Like they were celebrating it. We got rid of him. Yeah, we don't have to worry about him ever again. All right, you got 3 more years of this. 3. And hopefully then you get 4 more years of Vance.
Oh, wow. Yes. You want to talk about frustrating the left. They are frustrated like never before because they are at their weakest that they've ever been, Los. And the problem is they don't see a way out politically. The only thing they see is we've got to react in a way that is violent.
For everything that the college kids were yelling about on campus, about free Palestine and all their crazy silliness and everything else, Donald Trump actually lined out a plan to do exactly that. So now what? Now what's your plan? Now what's going to be your leftist message that you claim power from? What are you going to go to?
They got nothing. There's nothing to go to.
I mean, the man delivered what you were screaming about.
Free Palestine.
That you were like, there's no way he'll ever do that.
Done.
It's like,
check the box.
Like,
check another box.
Yes, here's what he delivered. All right.
While you were protesting angrily, not allowing Jewish students to go to class, having those crazy loony professors screaming and hollering and getting arrested, he was delivering.
Let me tell you what this is going to do. I believe that Donald Trump is going to have the political capital to do something very large come 2026. As we get through the midterms, I believe in the second half, if they maintain, right now it looks, based on what he's doing,
looks pretty good.
And it looks good. It's not, this is by no means is this, it's in the bag.
No.
But it's not, it's going to be over like what typically happens.
It's trending in a good direction. So that the Hill, where we had the article last week where they're saying, hey, don't be waiting on this blue wave.
Yeah.
It ain't coming.
It's not coming.
That's from them, not me.
And if you happen to redo the census, that's not the big deal. The big deal is when he finally finishes off Obamacare. Like, I believe that's on the horizon here. He's picking up the political capital to end Obamacare. And he was close the first time around. It took a John McCain vote to have Obamacare survive.
Yeah.
I think he goes after it again based on what is going on in this country, how we're always having to figure out, hey, wait a minute, we have to use tax dollars once again to get these subsidies paid for, to get this thing under control. I think the American people are willing to listen to a free market solution.
That's the only way it's going to survive.
The only way it's going to change.
That's the only way it's going to survive. Healthcare in America cannot survive Obamacare. It can't. I mean, you've seen what has happened with prices.
One of the biggest arguments that we had, this back now 15 years ago, was what if we had free market solutions to the healthcare programs? And one of them was, well, why can't you happen to shop across state lines? And immediately, like, you had the left. No, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. It's because it was too much of a threat to big pharma and to the entire industry. Because if I could go get my health care from somebody out of Tennessee rather than only having a limited amount of stuff in Georgia, you realize how much that drives down the cost?
The free market.
Open market competition.
The free market has always worked if government gets out of its way. And it can again if government gets out of its way. I don't know how much more simple it can be. I'm a dumb hillbilly 3-time college dropout, and I've seen the free market work, and I know and have full faith that it can again.
You also know what hillbilly justice is, especially in SEC football games.
That's right. And if you don't, then go back and listen to it on the Extra 106.3 app. Los laid out a genius description of hillbilly justice, and as he told me, I was like, my hillbilly radar went off. I was like, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen hillbilly justice work my whole life. And it did again down on the plains. This is the Morning Extra 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. The moment in the show that's coming up next, you'll need a piece of paper and a number 2 Ticonderoga pencil, probably the ones that you bought your kids to start back to school. You know you bought some extras. Get it out. Make sure it's sharpened. Be ready to take notes because we're going to take apart the deep state
Story Time with Los is next.
Xtra 1063 is Atlanta's home for NASCAR, and we have live races every weekend from across the country. Check out Xtra1063.com for the full schedule and join us this weekend for live NASCAR action.
Find your perfect Ford today at Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs. Home to one of Atlanta's largest selections of new and used vehicles. They're just 4 miles north of 285 on Roswell Road.
Stop by today to explore their incredible inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs, each thoroughly vetted to meet the highest standards.
Looking for power and performance? Drive home a legendary Mustang or conquer the great outdoors in the rugged Bronco.
Need family-friendly space? The Explorer and Expedition have you covered. Or experience the capability and strength of America's best-selling truck, the F-150.
And when it's time to finance, their straightforward, hassle-free process ensures your experience is stress-free.
With access to numerous lenders and expert guidance, they'll help you find the best rates and terms to fit your budget.
Which Ford will you drive home next? Find out at Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs, or visit them online at jimellisford.com.
Your Ford dreams are waiting. Make them a reality today at Atlanta's favorite Ford dealer, Jim Ellis Ford, Sandy Springs.
You and your buddy. You've been through a lot with each other. The ups and the downs. He's been with you every morning, noon, and night. You've traveled the world together. Heck, he was even with you on your first big date. But have you noticed he's struggling lately? Not performing on the job. He can't even stand up straight anymore. He's wanting to cry out for help, but just doesn't know how. He needs Dr. Dio and Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can give him the gift of good posture this year, help him stand proud and become all he was meant to be. Now, take him by the hand, look him in the eye and say, I appreciate you, little fella, and we're going to get you some help. We're going to call 404-777-1911. We're going to visit StopMyED.com. We are going to say goodbye to erectile dysfunction forever. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. It's a hard conversation to have, but it's one worth having. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Online at StopMyED.com.
Braves Country Convos is the newest official podcast of the Atlanta Braves. Join hosts Jory Palmer and Lauren Saad for some fun, lighthearted, and unexpected discussions as they interview guests with strong Braves country ties about the things that connect us all. Guests range from Braves alumni Charlie Culberson, MLB Network's Lauren Shahadi, and more. Visit Braves.com/podcast to begin listening to Season 1 wherever you get your podcasts, or watch on YouTube. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A dad from Cincinnati who wrote his daughter a letter every day and is now sharing the experience with others makes today's Dean's List. Rosie Pollock remembers when she went off to camp and her dad Buzz wrote her letters every day. But it didn't stop there. He kept writing her letters through her years at college and even after she moved back home. Those notes were so special to her, and one day she had an idea. Through social media, Rosie asked if there was anyone else who might want to receive a special handwritten note from her father. She never realized there were so many out there that wanted to have the same experience. And that's when the Dad Letter Project was born. Buzz now spends his free time sending letters to people across the country, many who have never ever gotten a letter from a father figure in their lives. He says the project is very meaningful, and although he has so many requests, he will continue to do what he can to write those letters and send them out, spreading wisdom, encouragement, and kindness. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, October 13th. A 26-year-old man was arrested for vandalizing the Martin Luther King Jr. burial site. Authorities say Brent Jones urinated in the reflecting pool and then stomped on the eternal flame, damaging it. The King Center remains open for visitors. A new survey ranks Georgia among the lowest states for binge drinking, with only 15% of adults reporting that behavior. The survey, based on CDC and Mental Health America data, put Georgia 9th lowest nationally. Researchers define binge drinking as 4 or more drinks for women or 5 or more drinks for men in a single occasion. And the Savannah Bananas will be back at Truist Park in 2026 for a 3-game series from May 8th to 10th. Banana Ball Tour is also expanding to 6 teams. Fans can enter a ticket lottery on the league's website to secure seats for the Atlanta games as soon as submissions open. Today's weather clear and sunny with highs in the upper 70s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Call Chuck and his team, and they will get you set up with a new carrier system, $2,100 in rebates, and 60 months, same as cash with approved credit. So I did notice something before we get to story time. I did notice something that stood out to me about all the 20 hostages that were released. All of them are men. The women were the ones that were brutally murdered, and they now don't have their bodies. That's the brutality of Hamas. That's what we've been dealing with Hamas and all of those fools on college campuses that were protesting in favor of Hamas. That's what they conveniently don't notice.
When we did have, during the very few times, hostage exchanges, it was always for women and children, including their bodies. So, the strategy has always been that the men could survive longer in captivity. But then even some of the videos that we saw, it wasn't going to be much longer for some of them.
No.
So it was important to get them home.
Just a very, very sad, a very hopeful day as we move into the peace process that Donald Trump has laid out and has been celebrated for in a speech before Israeli parliament on the cover of the Jerusalem Post, written on the beaches in Tel Aviv. You just seen the praise that he's gotten, and understandably so, the reasoning behind the praise that he's gotten. But I just couldn't help but notice. I was like, wait a minute, every one of these are men. These poor women, the poor women who were taken hostage, were all deceased, and we probably won't find their remains ever because, the folks in Hamas, it's not like they give a rip about the remains. It's not like, and to pretend for so long that they had them, and I knew better than that. I could, in my gut, I was like, there's not a chance that these remains ever come home. And maybe that the force that we've talked about, Los, the Arab force that is going in to enforce all of the steps of the peace process, maybe they'll be able to locate some of them. I pray that that's the case to get them back to their loved ones and their families, because they deserve that. So that's kind of where we are in the morning. It's been it's been a roller coaster of a day, with praise and triumph and getting to the peace process and moving so far. Los has mapped it out to step 5. And we've got 15 more to go. How that goes, we'll just have to watch it play out.
Let's get to step 10. I would feel pretty lucky.
Yeah. Well, you tell people what that is. That way.
Step 10 is the reconstruction of Gaza.
There you go. That way.
But that's after Hamas is already out and they've been demilitarized.
Yeah, demilitarized. Exactly right. So, all right. So that's kind of where we are in the morning. And we've also talked about some, huge college football news that has been everywhere. Those are the 2 big stories of the day, without a doubt. Completely separate, completely different. But giant nonetheless. So right now, I want you to get out that number 2 pencil that I told you about, the Ticonderoga that you bought before school started. I'm sure you have 1 or 2 left over. And grab one of those spiral notebooks, because you'll need to take some notes as we talk about the deep state in Story Time with Front Office Los.
Settle in and get comfortable, folks. It's story time with Uncle Los.
Thank you, America, and thank you, Jeray, and thank you, Tug. So I regularly talk about how if you don't punish those that use the power of government against their enemies, then you encourage those, once they continue to have their power, to continue to do so. If you don't start sending people to prison for what they've done, then eventually, when that side has power back again, they'll do it again. So, John Bolton, you're up next from all the reports. Giving away state secrets. And again, this is a guy on our side. And yet, we're like, no, this is what he was doing. He was leaking state secrets. And yes, by all means, against Donald Trump, because he was probably hurting his pocketbook. James Comey, all right, you got indicted. It's going to happen. You're going to go to trial, and it's going to be expensive. And eventually, we're going to talk about another gentleman who needs to see that sort of justice. But I want to take you back. to 1964, there was a man who was born to immigrants from Greece. He was their grandson. And he excelled in school, and he had an eye on service to the country. Now, in grad school, and this is where it always starts, in grad school, he's studying Middle Eastern and international affairs. And he got recruited by the CIA out of grad school. This man is John Carrico. Now, you might know the story. John Carrico, back nearly 20 years ago, he's accused of espionage. And he starts getting, looking like the man's going to prison. But I wanted to bring him up because he's a perfect symbol for the deep state. By the way, he and his family, lifelong Democrats. But what occurred? So he ends up working in Iraq during the 90s. He could speak Arabic, and he was accustomed to the threats in the region. So after doing some anti-terrorism work in Greece, they end up bringing him back to the operations here with the CIA in 2000, right in time for 9/11. And where was he assigned? He was assigned to Pakistan or Pakistan, depending if you're Barack Obama. Pakistan. And his entire job was to, as they brought members of Al Qaeda to justice, it was about what is the program that we're running in order to find out more information. Now, early on, the FBI was running interrogations for 9/11 terrorists. It was their program. And what they would do is they would do what the FBI does. We're going to sit you down. It's good cop, bad cop. I'll give you a little respect. This guy's going to question you. And they were actually getting some decent results. This according to John Carrico. What then occurred? The CIA took it over. And what was offered to Carrico at the time was, we are going to do enhanced
interrogations. Yeah.
And so he is like looking over all this stuff, and he's like, well, you know, this sure sounds like torture. Enhanced interrogation program. Well, so what happens? He considered it torture, and in 2007, John Carrico, who had been seeing all the data on this stuff, he blew the whistle. He was like, this is torture. Like, this is what's going on. Now, there was another man out there. This man was basically a career politician with the CIA. In fact, at one point during the 90s, he was given one of the jobs in the CIA that I didn't know this until I started kind of doing this information. You know what nobody wants? Nobody wants to be giving the president his daily brief. Every morning, if you're not aware, the president gets a daily brief of what's going on around the world, different operations. Yes. And you know what? It's a fun podcast. The president's daily brief.
Yeah, Mike, what's the guy that hosts it?
Yes.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Anyway, so apparently within the CIA circles, nobody wants that job because what do? You get the information and you read it to the president. You're not a station chief. You're not working in some faraway land or dealing with some sort of hostage. You read the news to the president. And so eventually this particular person, he'd always wanted to run his own section. He ends up being given an anti-terrorist group, but it's in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't even in the building. It wasn't even in the CIA. Basically, it was, listen, we're retiring this guy off. And as he hit the retirement portion of his career, as it was told by John Carrico, some people went to the McCain camp who were, as we're getting close to the election in 2008. Some people went to Hillary Clinton. One guy went to Barack Obama. His name was John Brennan. Now, John Brennan, who, again, had never really held significant place in the CIA, had been giving the presidential daily brief during the 90s, a job that nobody else wants in the CIA, had been given a anti-terrorist group that was not even set up within the main campus of the CIA. It was like, here, you're off over here. He was an afterthought. He was left to basically be on his own. But here is what Brennan did. Once you had Carrico leak that, hey, this is torture in 2007, Brennan made it part of his career. We're going to get that guy. We're going to get that dude for leaking that information, for ending what is the CIA. And part of what also happened, too, Barack Obama looked at leaks as being the one thing he never wanted. And Brennan basically delivered him, hey, here are the people that are leaking information, including John Carrico. We need to go after these people hard. So what happens to Carrico? He's in Brennan's crosshairs. By 2012, Brennan now has the ammunition that he thought he needed. He was able to put together a case where Carrico had disseminated information, and it was using the Intelligence Identities Protection Act. If you happen to have somebody's name that got out there, then you could be hit with a case. That's what they did. Now, the previous person who had this go on ended up serving, I think it was like 6 months. They offered Carrico a deal for 40 years. 40 years. Now, Brennan finally had his revenge. He had his revenge for who leaked, for who got that information out there. What happened? Carrico ends up being offered, 20 years. 10 years. They got it down to 23 months where he was supposed to be in a minimum security prison where you show up, you sign in, you do your time.
Martha Stewart,
you
almost.
Leave. Right.
A little bit of that.
He showed up to the prison he was supposed to be at. They're like, no, you're across the street. It's like, what do you mean I'm across the street? And by the way, he talks about this in Joe Rogan's podcast from last week. He's like, I showed up and suddenly I'm not at the country club. He's like, the administration under Obama, under Brennan, stuck me in with the gangsters, the white supremacists,
yeah.
the hard. Now, these weren't all murderers, but these were other people that were like terrorists.
Yeah.
They'd been involved in all of this.
It was definitely not the country club.
No, not one bit. And they told him, well, we can file, but it's going to take 2 years for anybody to hear it. You've got 23 months. This was the revenge from John Brennan and from the deep state for telling the truth about what was going on. And so what do we now have? He does his time in prison. The government actually acknowledged the torture program. John McCain was one of the people that went on the Senate floor and said, we did this. This is what happened. And these were the results. We didn't get actionable information from it, at least not to the same extent what we got from the FBI. And the only reason anybody knew about it was John Carrico. So that man is now waiting to see if he ever gets a presidential pardon so that he can have all of basically his entire pension was gone.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed to get it because he's a criminal.
Yeah.
So he's waiting to see whether or not he ever gets a presidential pardon. Meanwhile, John Brennan, who organized all of this against him, is at large. When you start hearing about how we have to deal with the deep state, it's by taking people like John Brennan, who took American patriots who were just doing the job the way they thought they were supposed to, and you locked him away for 2 years, and you bled all of his bank accounts. At the very least, you know what you should have coming to you? Your bank accounts are bled, and you're having to look at 2 years, or 10 years, or 15 years. That's story time.
Tell you, Los had sent me the podcast that he did with Joe Rogan, and I was listening to it last night. I got about 45 minutes of it. I was so surprised, Los, that he said he did not want to dismantle the FBI or the CIA.
No, he thinks they still have a legitimate use.
Exactly.
But with the right people running them.
With the right people, yes, absolutely. He was like, it's got to be stripped down to the studs and then built back up with
He's
the
like,
right
it's
people.
filled with the wrong people that are career politicians.
The deep staters.
That are using it in the interest of their own political party.
But were you not surprised that he said that? Because I was. That was what moved me.
I was surprised when I brought up, hey, lifelong Democrat. And what did he talk about during the podcast? He's like, they've gone so far off the reservation and put me in prison.
Yeah.
He's like, I have much more in common with people that are populist. And I was like, oh, that's funny.
Welcome.
It's what I keep trying to talk about.
Right. Absolutely. But how many Democrats are seeing that? That's why that walkaway campaign is a real thing, and the Democrats know it's a real thing because they're experiencing it. You see the amount of people that are registering to vote Democrat that have nothing to do with politics, that just are regular, everyday American voters that are saying, you know what? They don't represent me anymore. What they do is way, way different than what I believe in. Those mostly those classical liberals that we talk about with Bill Maher and people like that do value the First Amendment, do value the Constitution. But that was the thing that stood out to me most last night, because I would have thought that Carrico would be like, destroy it, tear it down. It is the worst of the worst. Look what it did to me. And no, he doesn't. He thinks there's value there.
The FBI, as he got, and it's a little convoluted, so I didn't really cover it, but the FBI was asking for his assistance in a case that he was attempting to give the assistance that they had asked for. And it was going to be the entrapment of a foreign dignitary who was offering to pay CIA people for information. And before he knows it, they turn the case on him, and they're like, we got you. He's like, what do you he's like, I was going to wear a wire.
Yeah.
They didn't want him to wear a wire, so it was his word versus them.
That's right.
It's as dirty as it gets.
Everything that you believe about the filthiness of politics is correct.
Yes.
It's as dirty as you think it is, and maybe worse.
And as his attorneys told him, because he's like, I think we're going to fight this. Like, I'm innocent. And they're like, in this case, they're like, you are in the most, when it came to the people that would be judging you, it's like they're all government employees. It's like, they're not going to turn you loose for being a whistleblower. I was like, they're going to give you the full 40 years. Take the 23 months. He's like, I'm fully innocent. Didn't matter. His lawyers told him, take this or else you're going to get 40 years from these people because they are all subjects of the government.
And they quoted, I think, was it Woodrow Wilson, where he says, if you want a friend in D.C., he's talking about the filthiness of politics. If you want a friend in Washington, D.C., get a dog.
Get a dog.
Dog won't let you down. We don't deserve dogs. You know that. Tug and Los until 10. Story time, always a pleasure. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to the Extra 106.3 app. It'll be available there for you. Let me guess. Your home has a Ring camera. Mine does too. Little did you know that it's working against you and your values. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Sports news powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, October 13th. We get a Monday night sort of doubleheader that will feature the Atlanta Falcons as the Falcons are at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo does come in with a 4-1 record. The Falcons are 2-2. Buffalo is currently a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That game will kick off at 7:15. Then 1 hour later in the evening, you will have the Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears. The Bears 2-2 on the season. The Commanders are 3-2. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite for this ball game. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Faith, family, freedom. These are the cornerstones of America and the foundation for a successful life. But today, all three are under attack. Crushing debt, out-of-control spending, and reckless policies in Washington are threatening your savings, your retirement, and your future. Hi, this is Glenn Beck. The only financial advisory firm I recommend in Atlanta is Nicholas Wealth Management. David Nicholas and his team believe protecting your money is about more than wealth. It's about defending your faith, your family, and your freedom. If your hard-earned retirement is left exposed to market chaos, higher taxes, or inflation, what happens to the life you've worked so hard to build? For over 20 years, David Nicholas has helped families right here in Atlanta fight back with retirement strategies built to better withstand uncertainty. Call Nicholas Wealth Management today, 404-890-5606, or visit nicholaswealth.com. Aim to safeguard your future today.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if your old windows have you boiling in the summer and freezing in the winter, you need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus no payments for 2 years.
While fall temperatures are cooling down, the action in the stadium and on the field is really heating up. If you find yourself in hot water from too much celebrating during the game, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds for those in the Benz to those who celebrate action between the hedges. At A Second Chance, we can have you or your loved one out of jail in a matter of hours. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
Hey, it's Front Office Los, and running a business is tough. Juggling clients, employees, cash flow. Why worry about IT? iTech Atlanta can keep your systems running securely and smoothly so that you can focus on your business. Minimize downtime and protect against cyber threats, all at a predictable, fixed, low monthly cost. For 25 years, iTech Atlanta has been helping businesses just like yours. They would love to manage your IT on time and under budget. Learn more. Visit iTechAtlanta.com. We manage your IT so you can manage your business.
Fox on Tech.
Your meal in Los Angeles may soon come by robot. Food delivery app DoorDash is linking up with Serve Robotics to use their bots to make deliveries to customers. Both companies announced they've signed a multi-year deal for delivery in parts of Los Angeles. Serve's robots look like a self-moving bucket on wheels and travel on sidewalks. They're not the only robot vendor working for DoorDash. They're also working with drone companies for deliveries in Dallas-Fort Worth. And DoorDash's own Dot are larger autonomous vehicles that reach speeds up to 20 miles an hour on roadways. Serve's robots, however, will actually be giving human gig workers a run for their money. Just like the people who take gigs from different platforms, Serve robots will take delivery orders for both DoorDash and Uber Eats, even in the same cities. DoorDash in 2024 turned its first profit. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Tomorrow, we reflect on the life of Charlie Kirk on what would have been his 32nd birthday. Gone far too young, Charlie represented an unabashed pride in the American way of life, unafraid to speak out, and contributed so much to the conservative movement. His legacy lives on in the voices of conservatives across the nation and right here in Atlanta, on your only home for conservative news and talk. Extra 106.3 FM and the Xtra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra on Extra 106.3. Something around your house is not working on your behalf. now,
you know my wife too?
Yeah, that's right. No, not talking about. No, I am not talking about her. What I mean is,
what did you partake in dinner?
No, none of those things. No, I was just saying that, if you probably have the app on your phone, the little Ring app, and it'll ding-a-ling-a-ling, and somebody's at the door. Sometimes it's a false alarm, like our American flag hanging off the front porch swings into the view of the ring. So I get a lot of false, knocks at the door or people detected at the door because
that doesn't happen with mine, because when it comes to my flag, those colors don't run, Tug.
That's right. Well, these don't run either. They sway. They sway in the wind. And
apparently, you should change your settings.
That's right. I've tried. There's nothing. It doesn't work. I just can't do it. So, but most of the time, somebody comes to the door, I can see that it's the delivery man, whatever. But sometimes Ring goes behind your back.
I'll give credit initially to Laura Loomer, who can be a little bit out there at times.
Can. Yes, there's moments
face
where
facts.
Yeah,
I think she's a really good reporter.
Me too.
When she gets the information out there, she was like she was the very first person to tell you Biden's having a medical emergency. He's having medical situations. He had one coming back from Las Vegas. Turns out she was right. She was right about all of it. Laura Loomer was the first person late last month, who started pointing out as she was getting word about this, and then she put it out there in the mainstream. Hey, Ring, the doorbell system, the alarm system, they're tracking ICE movements, and they're making it available. Now, the argument was, all right, if a person spots somebody coming to their door or driving past their facility and you think it's an ICE vehicle, they were the ones putting it out there. Hey, I think ICE is in my neighborhood. What's different now is that it looks, and this ends up being through libs of TikTok. This ended up coming out on Friday, Saturday. Now now Ring looks like they're giving you actual updates on neighborhood alert near Chicago. ICE parked at Jordan Elementary. Neighborhood alert near Chicago. ICE spotted by Ridge and Howard. Be careful out there. It now looks like they're putting it out in the mainstream like it's an alert.
Looks like that.
A whole line of alerts.
Yeah, mine just happens to say person at your front door. Those say ICE in the neighborhood.
Because I will get... I have my notification set up a little bit differently. Obviously, anything that comes near our Ring systems, I get the alert. But I will also get one when there might be an accident in the area.
Sure.
Or there might be an incident where, hey, police and fire department are there.
The social networking part of it.
Or there might be a break-in. What is now showing on here is just a line of different people in neighborhoods, and they're all being elevated to the entirety of the network. So... 10:36 a.m. ICE on Clark and Hunt. Be safe, everyone. They're all over Rogers Park. 10:38. ICE on Clark and Lunt. Just two guys. 10:51. Possible ICE near Kilmer School. Ring is now apparently in the business of trying to dox and tell you where these people are.
If that's low down, makes me want to rip my Ring camera off and go get some off-brand.
It's pretty filthy.
It is. It's just dirty. It drives me crazy when companies get knee-deep into politics. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have an opinion. I just don't know that they should use their opinion to influence what's happening in my neighborhood because of something that I purchased from them. It makes me want to change systems altogether. Find a different. There's got to be 1,000 of them by now.
And Ring continues to not really get into this. When Laura Loomer back in September brought this up, there wasn't a response from Ring. And then when this came out over the weekend, I'm still waiting to see, as a company, knowing how dangerous this is, knowing that this is wildly unpopular, let's see what happens when the marketplace has a reaction to it.
I'm telling you, it's a brewing. All you need to do is show people that, and it will brew. That's why it's so important when we talk about using the companies that advertise on this station. We're not telling you to buy a roof if you don't need one. We're not telling you to go buy MREs if you don't need any.
But you should.
But it's not a bad idea.
So yummy.
So yummy.
Yeah,
no,
really
but that's the thing. We tell you that the companies you hear on the station that advertise during the morning and the afternoon show specifically, they share your values.
By the way, interestingly
Work
enough,
with them.
Tug, so this information was out October 9th, October 10th. Ring has not posted to their main site since October 8th.
Reckon why? See, that's the thing. You don't even have the courage of your convictions. I think I'd have more respect for them if they go, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And we stand by it. We're going to continue doing it. At least have the courage of your convictions so I can say, you know what, Ring, I don't agree with you. I'm out. I'm going to go buy XYZ brand. I'm changing mine out on my phone and on my home.
All right, they did have now, it was not on their main page. There's a, hey, Ring, can you address the concerns about aiding and obstructing the rule of law? The public is looking for clarification on this issue. Thanks. You then have the neighborhood app is community driven, where people share updates about what's happening nearby, from safety alerts to lost pets. Posts come from neighbors within the community for awareness and connection. You can read our community guidelines here. All right. What happens when your community is aiding and obstructing the law?
Is there a responsibility there? I would contend yes. There is a responsibility.
Because I know that somebody...
Because that going against your community guidelines, I'm guessing.
Someone who posts to your community, you are not on the hook for. That's part of what the government has found. That it's part of what the law system has looked into and said, no, you're not on the hook for stuff that gets posted third party onto your network. But what happens when people are posting stuff that is aiding an illegal activity?
Breaking the law. Then all of a sudden, the responsibility does belong to you.
I love this. This is not your lost pets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This is not a bad weather. This is not a lost pet. This is not a accident on the road I live off of. Avoid the area. Go into the neighborhood the back way. Whatever it is. This is aiding and abetting the people from ICE doing the job that they have sworn a duty to do. That's unreal, man.
That is gross.
That is really, really
That is
gross.
the only thing that they have said was that, and here's our community guidelines. Okay.
That is the way to skirt the question.
Because I know that if I was to interfere in a criminal investigation,
you'd be in trouble.
I'd be in trouble.
It's pretty easy to understand. Ring, where are you on this? Love to know. I don't guess we ever will. But it tells you where they stand. It tells you what they believe in and what they value. So there you go. Now you know. Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. The show has absolutely flown by because of all the things that are happening. Trump in the Middle East, speaking before the Israeli parliament. The hostages, the 20 remaining living hostages, were released into Red Cross care. The nearly 2,000 prisoners that were held by the Israelis, the Palestinian prisoners, have been sent by bus through the Red Cross to get back to their families. So, as you know, news changes quick, and we try to keep up with it at the speed that it changes for you here on Extra 106.3. When we come back, Scott Jennings stumps a Democrat on CNN about the responsibility for the government shutdown.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
It's me, Neil Bortz, your favorite neighborhood mythbuster. I know you've seen the videos of those houses on stilts in the North Carolina Outer Banks crumbling into the sea. And while you were watching those videos, the narration on TV was more than likely that this is being caused by rising sea levels. You know, the Arctic sea ice is melting. Well, actually, it's not. The last couple of years, it's been increasing. But what is happening to those homes? When they were originally built, they were a long way off the beach, behind a bunch of sand dunes. So what happened? Erosion, hurricanes, storms. This has been happening to beaches for millennia. And by the way, they've been uninhabited for years. Just another attempt by the media to meet up with the demands of the left-wing overlords that want to preach to us about climate change. The sea levels, my friends, have not risen. Maybe a quarter of an inch. So many predictions that never came true. Let's go back. Ice-free Arctic by 2013. That was the prediction from Al Gore and others. Sorry, didn't happen. Al Gore in 2006, remember his movie, An Inconvenient Truth? There would be no more snow on Kilimanjaro. Sorry, still snow on Kilimanjaro. Rising seas will submerge the Maldives by 2018. Didn't happen. That was according to models, none of which came true. Mass starvation due to climate change in the 1970s and the 1980s. Again, didn't happen. Millions of climate refugees by 2020. Sorry, didn't happen. Yet the left, the people seeking even more government power over our everyday activities, continue to insist that the world is coming to an end due to climate change, probably by next week. Keep believing them, people. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
It's Fox Wheels.
Tesla outsells Mercedes-Benz Group for the first time. Mercedes reporting over 441,000 car sales in the third quarter. Tesla besting the luxury brand by over 55,000, reporting 497,000 units sold, though with sharply lower U.S. EV sales expected ahead, with the end of the federal EV tax credit late last month. Well, as year-end auto sales begin, be on the lookout for 2024, even 2023 models. The guys at Car Edge reporting a massive surplus of about 85,000 new 2024 models on dealer lots. And even more surprising, about 8,000 new 2023 models are still unsold. We're told trucks and SUVs dominate leftover inventory, with deals of around 20% off MSRP waiting for you if you negotiate. That's Fox Wheels. I'm Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity. 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious.
President Trump addressing Israel's parliament calls it a historic dawn for a new Middle East.
So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began.
Referencing the Hamas terror attack that triggered the war.
The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core of humanity itself.
Israel's war left 67,000 Palestinians dead and much of Gaza in ruins.
And the total focus of Gazans must be on restoring the fundamentals of stability, safety, dignity, and economic development, so they can finally have the better life that their children really do deserve.
The president is now at the airport, ready to go to Egypt next, and the Trump-brokered ceasefire plan includes Israel releasing more than 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. As for the hostages set free,
2 years of tears, but these are tears of joy.
Einav Zangaukar embraces her son Matan. My life, you are my life. He's been in captivity for 738 days, but along with 19 others is back home in Israel. Those joyful scenes reflected across the country. But for some families, the agony continues. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum says only 4 of the 28 bodies Hamas still holds will be returned today.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The manhunt continues in South Carolina for the gunman who went on a shooting spree early yesterday, killing 4 people.
It happened on St. Helena Island at a bar called Willie's. The place was packed with hundreds of people when shots rang out. The crowd scrambled for cover. Some ran to nearby businesses and homes.
Fox's Jill Nato. America's listening to Fox News.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
He's coming. Here he comes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Align your business with other like-minded conservatives by advertising on Xtra 106.3. Email sales at xtra1063.com.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra. Thank you so much for being here and starting your day with us. Whether you're part of the 4-Hour Club like good friend Stephanie and Ron Goodbub. Well, he's 3.5 hours, but
3.5. He's
gonna. If we're rounding up,
just grab that app. You can give us the extra half hour back.
That's right. We'd appreciate it. And if you would do one thing for us, because this is a community radio station sharing our community values, share Xtra 106.3 with someone, a friend, someone at work that might enjoy or get something out of our show, get something out of our radio station. If you could do that for us, we would be grateful. I mean, this is really just picking yourself up by your bootstraps and making something out of nothing. I mean, it was this little station didn't exist 4 years ago, and now it continues to grow like a little weed, and we are so happy because of that, because, again, it's about the community values that we all share.
I thought this was pretty funny from Southern Belle Patriot.
Hey, girl.
So Southern Belle Patriot reached out to Jamie Dupree and was like, what happened to you?
Oh, right.
And based on his reaction to using the tariff program in order to pay our American servicemen and women for the paycheck that they might be missing during this government shutdown. And he has a big issue with it, and it's all political. It really is.
Yeah.
And so he tried to point it out like, well, rule of law, and here's this with the Constitution. I'm like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's totally factual, except during the previous administration, that got completely thrown away in the interest of paying for student loan debt. If you have a problem with it, file your motion, put, and then we'll talk about it again in 2 or 3 months, huh? Right? That's what we should do. But but the point ends up being that if you ever heard me on the sports station, especially over the last 7 years, you know this is not a surprise. I didn't ever pretend to be somebody else. To think that there are a lot of people out there that when we talk about a community radio station that would spend time working with Neil Bortz and I agree with you, Neil. I agree with this. I agree. And then as soon as they get away from it, it's, now you find out what they're really about.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's just about the paycheck?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And the other thing that drives me crazy about that is that he was like, where are they going to pull this money? Where are they finding the rule of law to allow this? This has to be congressionally passed. Okay, Jamie, let's see if we can go to Congress.
I wonder why Congress isn't in session.
Seems like a speed bump there with the argument, pal, with Congress not being in session because the government is shut down. It's the Schumer shutdown. There's no way to get Congress to do anything. And they can't. Their hands are tied. So what does Donald Trump do? He figures it out.
Figured a way around it.
Freaking MacGyver. like?
In the interest of paying our American servicemen and women.
Of all things to have a problem with.
This wasn't like sending money over to Ukraine.
I bet Jamie would be all right with that. Something tells me.
They typically are.
They typically are.
But again, I'm suggesting. I don't know for sure.
No, by no means.
I'm alleging.
No,
I don't know for sure.
Let's go by track record.
Anytime money goes from your wallet to Ukraine, they're all happy.
It does seem that way. It's just, it's so frustrating. But it's been a good day. Obviously, Donald Trump delivered a powerful speech in front of the Israeli parliament. The 20 remaining living hostages have been returned to their family, and I watched some video of a mother reuniting with her son after 738 days. It is exactly the emotional reunion that you would have thought. And that mother in full tears, the son embracing his mother. It's the most wonderful thing in the world. And you have Donald Trump to thank for it. And anybody who sees it any differently, please call me and tell me how. Because if it weren't for Donald Trump and his ability to negotiate and his ability to get the Arab nations surrounding that area to say, yes, we're going to negotiate, and we're going to recognize Israel and its right to exist, Israel as a nation. And if the fools in Hamas try to derail this, we back Israel doing whatever it takes. That's never happened. That's why there is a chance, a slim glimmer of hope for peace to maintain and be kept in the Middle East, Los.
Now, as of now, Donald Trump is making it to the airport in Tel Aviv. He is now heading off to, and this is part of the steps we have in this peace process. Right now, we're on step 5, hostage and prisoner exchange. What we're now going to be getting into, though, is we're getting closer to step 8, which is the formation of a transitional committee. That committee, as far as the structure of it, who is going to be part of it, will be discussed today in Egypt. So he's now flying off to Egypt, where it's expected he will be on this council. Tony Blair is a name that has been floated out there. And then you're going to have different members of those Arab nations that you spoke of that'll be part of this council in rebuilding and reestablishing Gaza as a country with a level of independence, as long as we can live up to a peace deal.
Yeah.
On each side.
And look, you want to know the ability of Donald Trump. He took things that these nations desperately wanted, that had been asking for them for years, and he said, help me develop a peace plan, help me establish peace, and I will give you those things that you desperately want. Turkey is a NATO country. They've wanted the F-35s for years. Now they're going to get them. You have Qatar, who wants to be a tech powerhouse, and they wanted the ability to have great microchips and the chips that computer systems run off of to be able to create and develop AI. That's what they're getting. And if you think any of that would have happened without those negotiations, you're completely wrong.
No, everybody had to get something out of this deal. Because
always. It's the way every negotiation. Who's going to give in without getting something?
Yeah, but you also understand, and this ends up being the sticking point. This will have moments where it gets ugly.
Oh, sure.
Where this will be problematic.
Oh, yeah. There's no clear, easy path. It's always going to happen.
And the structure of this, as it stands right now, they won't be our boots on the ground. In the case of Qatar, or if I can say Qatar, it's going to be theirs. Like, it's going to be these other Arab nations that might be dealing with these crazy fanatic fools who continue to fight this war and who continue to want to take over the portions of the Middle East where the Jordanians don't want them, the Egyptians don't want them. It's going to be their people that are handling this stuff.
Which is good. We don't need to.
Good for us. We don't want any part of it. We made you the exchange. You got the jets. You got the microchips. Y'all are in charge of this part.
Yeah, we want to broker the deal. We want to make sure that the deal happens. We want to create a scenario and in an environment where it can happen. But now it's on you. This is your region. Protect it. That's why. And it's the exact same thing with the Russia-Ukraine war, Los. Where's Europe? Europe needs to step up. Quit being...
They sent helmets.
They sent 5,000. When in the very beginning, the first thing that Germany sent was, well, we got 5,000 helmets.
They're like World War I era.
Used. Not new helmets.
They have spikes on the top of them.
like something crazy, like something. I mean, who does that? Europe, where are you? And it's not like there's not been help from the United States every step of the stinking way. We've had to do everything, including put our spec ops and our CIA in Ukraine, helping with targeting, which is not good, if you ask me. It's not a good. I don't want to do that, but that's what's happening. We have to be blatantly honest. You have to know what's actually happening. Europe isn't doing it because they don't have the ability to do it. They've let their militaries die on the vine.
If this goes down the way I believe it's going to, where we're going to now turn this over to the Middle East to, listen, the whole structure's there, y'all make it work. And if it does, if it happens to work, again, I had doubts we'd even get to this point because things always go on.
Yeah.
I think steps 7 and 8 are going to be very perilous. That's where you're going to have Hamas has to basically leave power and demilitarize. That's going to be a problem. We'll see what happens. If this gets taken care of, and now your focus is into being Ukraine and Russia, which we've had the outline, we've had structures of how this was going to go. But if that one concludes as well over the next, let's say, 6 months, then what? For those that continue he's a fascist, he's Hitler. I mean, the better part of 10 years of this talk, and the man actually found a way to end a war that looked like there was no way it was going to end.
If I hear one more Democrat say something stupid like that,
he's Hitler.
We're going to put them on blast every day. And not that they'll care, but just for our own satisfaction to show you how they've lied and they continue to lie. You don't end wars if you're a dictator. You don't end wars if you're the things that they describe Donald Trump as. He's proven over and over and over again he's not any of those things. And today is maybe the biggest example, and there's been many, but today is the biggest.
Well, dictators draw power from chaos.
And he's trying to do everything but chaos.
Right. They facilitate their power from a place of chaos. Hey, a region's in dispute. I'm going to come in, I'll hammer my enemy. I'll keep things under control. You always want that little bit of chaos in order for you to draw power. Now, where people are getting upset with them on the left, and it's their own damn fault, stop causing chaos in Portland and Chicago, and you won't have to deal with what's coming.
But they are.
You're just empowering him.
But that,
get it. Understand it.
Yeah, they may not because they're not settled enough. They're not they're so emotionally unstable that they can't be. So they call him everything that they are. That's the communist way, man. We've discussed it so many times. What do communists do? Blame you for what they're actually doing. And you see what Donald Trump is doing, and you see what they are doing out in Portland and places like that.
Yeah, so interested in chaos that he's flying around the world or bringing people in to make peace deals.
That has never even been considered before. You have Arab nations saying, yes, we will recognize Israel's right to exist and Israel's right to be a country, and we're going to do business with them.
I know that it's wrong for me to bring up stuff from Trump version 1. It's a guy who went to North Korea and got Rocket Man to stop launching rockets.
Right. And Rocket Man, crazy thing about that is that he looked so enamored with Donald Trump when he was there. I mean,
like, really? You're here?
I can't believe that you're even entertaining me. Most people wouldn't because I'm a crazy psycho killer. I understand why most people wouldn't.
I'd like for you to stop firing rockets over Japan.
And for the most part, until recently, they've been firing some into the Pacific since, but for a really long time, that trip was beneficial to the United States and our interest abroad.
That was just a little taste of what he was planning.
That's right.
Like, now you're getting all of it. This is
it's crazy to think about.
This is fun.
Can you imagine what he would have been able, or maybe, you know what, I take it all back. Guys, I was about to say if he hadn't have been robbed, if he hadn't have been cheated of that election.
No, they would have actually been able to put him in a box.
That's exactly right.
They would have had the Senate and the House.
I always tell my wife and my son, I was like, the good Lord has a plan. I know you don't like what's happening right now, and I know it seems unfair. I've even had to do it with my son because he sprained his ankle pretty good in baseball. He's like, Dad, if I don't get to play in the fall and I'm going to lose opportunity in the spring. And I was like, there is a reason for everything happening. Even in the valley, there is a reason that this is happening. Do you grow from it? Do you learn from it? Do you improve from it? I don't know the answer, but I can guarantee you there is a reason for everything happening. And there was a reason that election was stolen from Donald Trump. Maybe it was just the 4 years of preparation to do what he's doing on the world stage right now. Could be as simple as that.
They could have just left him alone, and you'd be done with him.
Yeah, but they couldn't.
You'd be done with him. And now, would any of these deals be happening? Probably not. Because you did have the Democrats who had the power for 4 years, and I don't recall things of this nature occurring. I don't recall sitting back going, wow, Joe Biden and his administration got this huge peace deal done. Now, will it ever reach completion? The only people that don't want it to are those crazy liberals sitting in their room crying about Donald Trump.
To this moment.
Like, you have people on the ground there. You have Palestinians and Israelis that are praising Donald Trump who want peace. And the only people that don't have purple hair and are complaining about Donald Trump as a fascist. And they're the ones going like, please, let's not have this continue. Let's keep having people murder each other.
How hollow do you have to be?
Because you're poisoned by politics.
No, I know. And
all of it.
Given the downloads and you read Mother Jones and you read The Atlantic and you listen to MSNBC, my sweet dear Aunt Peg, I guarantee you she's at home.
Stewing.
Upset, stewing that Donald Trump has had the success on the world stage.
Can't believe he's going to get this win.
I know, right? Yeah. I hope it falls.
It's a win for
apart.
everybody.
But that's it. It doesn't matter. The loving left, they don't love anything.
I mean, if you want to be crazy, if you want to be flat out nutty leftists, you know what you do? I talked about it last week, and I will continue to advocate for it. You have the media on your side. You start taking credit for things that you don't have any part in. For instance, if I was on the left, I would start saying that the only reason why we have peace in the Middle East and why this deal got done is because we pressured Donald Trump so hard on our college campuses. We're the ones who got this done. No, you didn't. But the media will be compliant with it.
Doesn't matter.
The media will play with it.
They'll run with it. You're exactly right.
But they are so against anything this administration or this man does, they can't even try and cultivate a victory that's not theirs.
I have a feeling there is a new segment coming to this show called Los Leads the Left. You know,
I'm going to help lead you into where you should be.
Sit them down on the comfy couch and hold their hand through getting rid of their emotional outbursts and paying attention and doing things the smart way. And you're thinking, no, don't tell them. Don't give them the roadmap. They ain't going to listen anyway.
They'll never follow it.
They'll never follow it.
Kamala Harris claiming in her book that she came up with no tax on tips is hilarious, but that should be a roadmap. For anything that is popular and works, you should claim that you had some sort of way you created it.
You know why it can't? Because she's bat-ass crazy.
Yes.
And
yes,
nobody's going to listen to anything in that book. They read it to mock her. They read it to make fun of her. And that was the nugget in there that they should grab onto, but won't.
They should take any sort of victory and make it their own. You've got the propaganda arm to do it. If I was the left, by this evening, I'd have on every news station how the reason why Donald Trump was able to get this deal done is because he saw the sentiment of the American left and he saw where it was going on in the Free Palestine movement and what was going on in American college campuses. You know, this is not unlike the late 60s, early 70s in this country that wanted the Vietnam War over with. We're the ones that created it. You should be thanking us. That's how I would play this.
They can't. They will never.
They just cannot do it.
They'll never, ever, and have never seen this level of corruption that we're seeing right now. Was MSNBC sleeping for the last 4 years? We'll discuss that next on The Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. The 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution. Since 1999, 877-9Southern, southernexteriors.co.
Wherever you are in Georgia, you can stream Extra 106.3 in crystal clear digital with the all-new Extra 106.3 app. Get Extra's live on-air stream in real time, or go back and listen to all your favorite shows, Neil Bortz, or original podcasts, no matter where you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
So if you need something done to the exterior of your home, I would tell you, hey, it's Tug, call Southern Exteriors. They've been doing this for a really long time, since 1999. They've been at it. Did you realize that most companies, most exterior remodeling companies only last about 4 years on average? So they've been at it since 1999. They've been doing something right. They've been taking care of the needs of people in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, and across the Southeast with their exterior remodels. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters. They do it all. Millworks. You can go to their website, southernexteriors.co, to see all the things they do. See their work. But that's the thing that stands out to me the most, is that they have the staying power, that they've been here for such a long time. Nothing is going to dissuade them from doing good work, because they're going to have a foreman on site for you to ask questions to, or just marvel at the work as it's being done, just like the way you thought it would be. But if you ever do have any questions, he'll be there. She'll be there on site to say, oh, hey, let's make sure we're doing this right, folks, talking to the folks that are working. Because have you ever been in that situation where somebody's doing work on your house and they're the employees and you're asking them, hey, I'm not sure this is right. No, that's what they told us. That's what we're doing. And then you have to go searching for the phone number, trying to get somebody on the phone to say they're doing it wrong. You don't have that with Southern Exteriors. 8779 southernexteriors.co. Right now, 10% off any job when it's paid in full, or you get 0% financing for 12 months. 8779 southernexteriors.co.
Atlanta's Mark from the Safe House. We have exciting news. We are moving to a new location to serve you better. And as you can imagine, we would rather sell our inventory than move it. So drop by our Ackworth location and save hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all in-stock safes. Brands like Champion, Browning, Fort Knox, and many others. We also offer professional delivery and installation. And the really exciting part is our new location in Alpharetta will offer an even better selection to suit your safe needs. So go to atlantasafehouse.com. That's atlantasafehouse.com.
Of all the radio ads I've ever done, I only advertised one thing that I think saved my life: my CPAP machine, sleep apnea. And I found the best CPAP dealer out there ever, Roddy at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. CPAPsETC.com. Everything you need, all the supplies, shipped anywhere at a price that often beats insurance. CPAPsETC.com. Go take a peek now.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
Experience luxury like never before behind the wheel of a brand new Cadillac from Jim Ellis Cadillac.
From the iconic Escalade to the innovative electric Lyric, Jim Ellis Cadillac offers the models you know and love, along with the latest in luxury EVs.
And the buying experience just as luxurious as the Cadillac name itself. With great prices, a great selection, and a team of knowledgeable sales associates, you'll love shopping at their showroom conveniently located on Peachtree Boulevard, just inside the perimeter.
Prefer to shop from home? Visit JimEllisCadillac.com, where you can browse all the latest offers and even start or complete your entire purchase online with the Jim Ellis Expressway.
Want to try before you buy? Schedule an at-home test drive and enjoy the convenience of home vehicle delivery. Luxury is waiting. Experience it today at Jim Ellis Cadillac. Jim Ellis Cadillac, where you can always expect the best.
Go beyond just a baseball game with your Atlanta Braves and check out Truist Park's Ballpark Tour. See the ballpark like never before and explore the franchise's rich history with artifacts, exhibits, and more, led by tour guides who will take you to places behind the scenes that most fans have never seen before, including the press box, premium club spaces, and of course, step onto the field where your favorite Braves players battle it out during the season. And each tour comes with a complimentary player chain necklace. Visit Braves.com/tours to purchase your tickets tickets today. And did you know Truist Park can host your next event? As a year-round facility, we host private events ranging from corporate meetings, trade shows, team building events, holiday parties, rehearsal dinners, you name it, Truist Park can host it. Visit Braves.com/events to get started on creating an experience like never before with one of Truist Park's unique venues. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, October 13th. A 26-year-old man was arrested for vandalizing the Martin Luther King Jr. burial site. Authorities say Brent Jones urinated in the reflecting pool and then stomped on the eternal flame, damaging it. The King Center remains open for visitors. A new survey ranks Georgia among the lowest states for binge drinking, with only 15% of adults reporting that behavior. The survey, based on CDC and Mental Health America data, put Georgia 9th lowest nationally. Researchers define binge drinking as 4 or more drinks for women or 5 or more drinks for men in a single occasion. And the Savannah Bananas will be back at Truist Park in 2026 for a 3-game series from May 8th to 10th. The Banana Ball Tour is also expanding to 6 teams. Fans can enter a ticket lottery on the league's website to secure seats for the Atlanta games as soon as submissions open. Today's weather clear and sunny with highs in the upper 70s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999, 8779 Southern. SouthernExteriors.co is the number and the website. Make sure you reach out to them if you need something done to the exterior of your home. I assume, I guess, was it Rapunzel that fell asleep for a really long time? Is that the right story? Have I got that right? Or is that Sleeping Beauty?
No, Rapunzel had the long hair.
That's right, Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty. I didn't have daughters. They didn't watch any of this stuff. You're going to cut me some slack on this.
You don't have to have daughters. I mean, I didn't get to watch any sort of Disney or anything else for the longest time. My parents divorced, and suddenly I was trying to watch, girls' parts through squiggly lines.
It's in fuzzy TV. Yeah, no, I get it.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So I had them all mixed up. I'm sorry. I apologize. Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty. That's what MSNBC is. Sleeping Beauty. They have to be. Except they're not all that pretty. But I'm just going to be polite here. Sleeping Beauty is what they are and have been, because they say they've not seen corruption like this ever. Political, prosecution, corruption, Los, it's rampant, and they can't believe it.
All right, this is hilarious. So this is supposed to be your legal analyst for MSNBC, and this ends up going down on Friday. I think, Friday, because I remember when I saw it, my first thing was, put that aside for the show on Monday. I can't believe that this was what they brought up. Now, Watergate always holds, it's the belt holder, right? Watergate, ooh, you got an American president to go, all right, I don't want to see about any sort of prosecutions tied in with this. The more we get away from it, the more it looks like, wow, it's kind of an inside job that you're able to undermine Richard Nixon with. That's what it looks like. Man, we've had so many things since then. Russian collusion, by far, much more dirty. Much more dirty.
Yeah.
January 6th, 250 FBI agents, including Antifa members, causing problems. Way nastier. I mean, there's one after another that is so much more that points to government corruption. But being that so many of these happen on the Democrats' watch, you can't possibly bring them up. So I want you to hear this legal analyst who takes a look at what the Trump administration's doing and the Trump DOJ and how we've never seen anything like this.
Let me say first, this week, this is a watershed moment in American history. Not since Watergate, Chris, have we seen a president weaponize the Justice Department to go after his political rivals. Donald Trump will still claim a sense of victory here, because for him, the process is the punishment. It takes a lot of money to defend yourself against the U.S. Department of Justice. It's an emotional toll. And then more than anything, he really wants to send a signal to anyone and everyone who would dare oppose him. If you come up against me, I'm coming after you.
So let me get this straight. We've never seen anything like this since Watergate.
No.
How this is used to bankrupt you. Not that we had a $500 million settlement. Followed by E. Jean Carroll, he disparaged her. Here's another $100 million. So you're telling me you didn't try and bankrupt Trump over 4 years. You didn't raid his home. You didn't have a special prosecutor in Jack Smith who falsified evidence in Florida in order to try and create a narrative. You're telling me that when it came to the prosecution in New York, that Letitia James didn't correctly evaluate the value of what Donald Trump had put up as collateral when he secured loans from New York. Apparently, Mar-a-Lago is only $18 million versus $1 billion.
Get out of here. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Were you asleep? Were you asleep during those 4 years?
No.
Was there any point where, hey, wait a minute, let me tell you what's unprecedented? In fact, I thought about, when this started happening, I thought about going home and flying my American flag upside down.
Dude, they knew exactly what was going on. They were willfully ignorant because they hated Donald Trump so much that they saw this as actually a good thing. This is beneficial for the country. So they've been twiddling their thumbs, acting like everything was normal, acting like this is commonplace. Nothing to see here. This man's a criminal. This man deserves this prosecution. And then you learn out behind the scenes, it was all orchestrated, every single bit of it. But they can't admit that. They can't tell you that. They would have egg on their face for days. So they just twiddle their thumbs and pretend that nothing happened.
What do you mean that we had somebody that had the government go after them? I mean, I did an entire story time based on a whistleblower from the CIA that his own government went after him and tried to give him 40 years.
As a Democrat.
As a Democrat who tried to give him 40 years for telling the American people, hey, they're torturing. Now, we're 20 years removed from it. So suddenly it doesn't count?
Yeah.
Doesn't count how this all played out?
Of course it does. But the only thing they can remember is that that moment when Watergate happened. That's the only thing. Never seen anything like that. That's the only time we've ever seen it. Never seen it since.
There used to be a saying that happened in sports talk radio. When I used to be sports talk radio all the time, here's what I'm doing. One of the things that I remember, this was like the turn of the century. It's like 01. This is ways back. And our programming director would have to remind the staff, if you're making a comparison, don't make a comparison to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Now, that seems pretty automatic now, but neither one of those guys had played in the league for like 7 or 8 years. And in their cases, none of them had been hugely relevant for like 15. So the audience, the younger audience, had no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Watergate has become
that.
Unless you're 65 and older, it is so off the radar. You didn't live through it. It's not like you have an encyclopedic knowledge of it.
We certainly didn't live through it. We had no connection to it
not
as far as real life, being practical, reading about the things that we did.
Knowing the era. Here's what happened. Here's what it was like every day.
Do I know the story out of the history book? Sure I do. But did we live it? Did we experience it? No. And when you live it and when you experience it, that's when you have a moment in time that you can reference. We didn't have that with Watergate. But they have to go back to that.
Is it because it has some sort of boogeyman role to it? Again, I know your audience is an older audience. That's what's left watching television, cable news. But if you think that that's resonating with like the 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, it's not. The majority of voters are like, no, I pretty much saw corruption right in front of me.
Yeah, it's very clear.
If you're plugged in and paying attention, I'm sorry, referencing something from 50-something years ago is not going to have the same resonance as, hey, so about that January 6th thing.
Yeah.
Hey, so about that Russian collusion case.
That happened really recently.
Them's much more filthy than what went on. You tried to undercut a president, and then you spent 4 years trying to take a former president and put him in prison for the rest of his life because you feared, because of the polling data, that you couldn't beat him.
And you covered up for a vegetable. That's the other
That's
thing.
another one.
That everybody saw. Even those on the Democrat side, they may have not said it out loud, but they knew, just like you and I knew, that Joe Biden wasn't capable and wasn't running the show.
You covered for a vegetable. Oh, he's totally fine.
Everything's good.
You won't even believe how good this guy is. He's outrageous.
He outruns me every day. We heard Binder say that 1,000 times when she was the press secretary. Karine Jean-Pierre, she's like, I can't keep up with the guy. It's crazy. I'm like,
he's got so much energy.
You're right. It is crazy because you're full of crap, and I can see through that. I'm not blind. I mean, you can tell me all you want to. My eyes and ears tell me different. And no, they still went with it. Jake Tapper wrote a book about it after when the smoke had cleared and he felt comfortable. Then he said, oh, yeah, it was... It was bad. It was real bad. Here's what I actually saw. Why weren't you reporting that?
The Watergate break-in was nearly 10 years before I was born.
Yeah.
and this is who they're talking to.
I know.
It's like, this will resonate with them. No, not really.
Left, but it's all that's left.
That's what they got.
All that's left. Here's another thing. Kind of along those same lines. You flag that and you're like, wait a minute. What? What did you just say? I had that experience over on CNN. I was standing last night in the kitchen as my wife is making some chicken pot pie. It was delicious, by the way.
Chicken pot pie.
It was so good. I said, Laura, have you ever committed mortgage fraud? And she said, no. Why? Why would you ask me such a crazy question? I was like, because on CNN, they told me everybody does it.
Aside for a second, what Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this, right? The federal government doesn't go after all of these people for doing this.
I said, Laura, you've bought a house, so you had to have committed mortgage fraud. You had to have.
Everybody does it.
CNN told me that everybody does it. And she laughed. She got a good chuckle out of it because she thought it was as absurd as I did when I heard it. And probably you did if you heard it before or just heard it now. How many houses have you bought, Los?
5 or 6.
Which one did you commit mortgage fraud on?
None.
No, come on. Come on.
In fact, when I did the 2 different times of buying houses in Florida, each time it was very clear, this is an investment property. In fact, if I had tried to call it a second home, now, and this is where Tish James messed up too, she had to sign a rider that was basically saying she would, first off, there was not going to be any investment income off of it. A second home is a home that you don't use as an investment property. It's very similar to people that might do business in, let's say, their house is in Atlanta. They have a condo in Colorado because they're there 3 or 4 months out of the year. They don't want to have hotels all the time. They own a second home. That home then is not rented and does not show revenue. She was renting a property and showing revenue, reporting it to the IRS. That makes it an investment property, which automatically means it's mortgage fraud.
I asked my wife, do we need to go back through our paperwork where we bought, because we bought and sold 3 houses. I said, do we need to go back through the paperwork and verify that we've not committed mortgage fraud? And she was like, no, I think we're good. We had lawyers in the room. She gave me all the reasons that probably didn't happen. Most likely. I was like, did not happen. CNN would lie to you and say, nothing to see, man. I don't know why you would think Big Tish James is committing mortgage fraud. Something's wrong with you. Everybody does this. It's normal. It's like going outside and playing for your kids.
If you were to tell me that everyone cheats on their taxes, I'd be like, hell yeah. In fact, the only people who don't cheat on their taxes are sitting back saying, I probably am being a target from the IRS, right. So I better not put anything down here.
That's right. I better button it up.
But depending on your income and what you're looking to report, listen, in my opinion, the IRS is not going to go after you over $50 or $80. Mm-mm. These are the people that owe thousands of dollars. That makes it worth it to prosecute them. But if you told me everyone does play some games with the IRS, I would say, yeah, you should. It's thousands of pages. There's a whole lot of areas that you can color outside some lines in my opinion. You don't do it when it comes to mortgages because you are actually sitting in a closing room with a multitude of attorneys signing that this is how you intend to use the residence.
Do you think that legal analyst over on MSNBC would say everyone commits mortgage fraud? Do you think he would say that? Because I believe he probably would. Knowing what he said about Watergate when you brought that audio up.
What's the big deal?
What's nothing to see here. It's all good.
I'm fairly certain. And by the way, when you file your taxes, you also have to acknowledge investment property versus second home because it's taxed differently as well. So Tish James, if we want to dig a little bit deeper, I would imagine that she was probably filing her taxes, calling it an investment property so as not to get in any trouble with the IRS. So I'll sell the IRS, and again, I'm speculating, that you are calling it investment property with the IRS, but when you secured the mortgage, you called it a second home or a primary residence.
How comfortable do you have to be on the air saying nothing to see here, everything is good, to do that at the level they do it on a national broadcast, you have to be comfortable fibbing and fudging. So, yeah, maybe they think because they do it so often that everybody must do it too, like they did over at CNN. Everyone commits mortgage fraud. Goodness gracious. I can't believe you're making a big deal out of this. Big Tish James ain't done nothing wrong. Nothing that you hadn't done. Wagging their finger at you. Now you know why nobody watches mainstream media anymore. Everybody's had it. Everybody's fed up with it. Nobody trusts it because they've burned your trust to the ground. The reason one of the greatest American heroes left the Democrat Party. Next on the Morning Extra.
The Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about the good people over at True Prep. First off, 1000 Cobb Parkway in Marietta, or online, trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. For those of you that took part in what they had going on yesterday, that was the first time Gun Buyers Workshop. Congratulations. That was really cool. You've now taken part in that. And the process is, hey, purchase your firearm from True Prep and then also let them train you if you're unexperienced. Obviously, if you're experienced, you know how much True Prep is able to do for you in terms of being ready for just about anything out there. I'm big into planning for crazy weather. That's mine. Maybe you're an outdoor enthusiast. You want to be ready for that. Or maybe you also want to be ready for, hey, home defense or when you're out and about. It is a good way to be ready for whatever comes. And I'll tell you what, that's always the point with True Prep. Just be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, as a friend of mine once told me. Go to trueprep.com. By the way, you can also check out right now their fall sale, up to 66% off many of their clearance items. You can take a look right over in that section and check out all the deals that they're offering. Go to trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, October 13th. We get a Monday night sort of doubleheader that will feature the Atlanta Falcons, as the Falcons are at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo does come in with a 4-1 record. The Falcons are 2-2. Buffalo's currently a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That game will kick off at 7:15. Then 1 hour later in the evening, you will have the Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears. The Bears 2-2 on the season. The Commanders are 3-2. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite for this ball game. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, Braves fans. Some things just get better with time, like your love for the Braves and banking with Truist One Checking. It's checking for life, offering everyday essentials like no overdraft fees and a tap-to-pay debit card, and great extras you'll appreciate season after season, like automatic upgrades as your balances grow. Be ready every inning with Truist One Checking. It's life-ready checking that grows with you. Get Truist One Checking today. Truist Bank. Member FDIC.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if you've got old, drafty, sticking, or leaking windows, you need the experienced pros at Window Nation. You can pay a lot less and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90Nation for your free estimate. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus no payments for 2 years.
This is Bruce Hagan. The law in Georgia has changed, and if you have been injured in a car crash, it's going to be harder than ever to get insurance companies to treat you fairly. What you need is a real lawyer on your side, not some phony TV or billboard lawyer who doesn't even know how to get to the courthouse. I've been a Georgia super lawyer for 20 straight years, and we try cases and we win. We get results for our clients. Call me, get in touch, hagan-law.com. We are real lawyers who will win your personal injury case.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Brandon Hutchison, Executive Vice President and General Manager of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Make no mistake about it, we're big customers of Georgia Power. It really is a true partnership. We've ran NASCAR's highest level of racing. In the early days of Atlanta Motor Speedway, Atlanta International Raceway, as it were, they raced twice a year, and that was about it.
Right.
And then we started figuring out that this is an 850-acre campus that can do so much more. And it's not just the larger events that impact the region. It's the local events that really impact our community. It's a big responsibility for us to be such a big player in our community. And there's no doubt that Georgia Power has fan experience front of mind all the time.
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit georgiapower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
Gentlemen, listen up. When it's not hard, it's really hard. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 have some form of ED? It's true, and I'm one of them. ED followed me everywhere. Heck, even my initials are ED. I'm Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia, and I know ED. It can lead to feelings of embarrassment, stress, and sadness. But there's good news. I can fix it. I fixed mine, and I can fix yours too. At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, we are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, trimix to create an erection, and more. Guys, ED won't get better on its own, but I can help you today. Call us at 404-777-1911. That's 404-777-1911, or learn about us more online at tbtofga.com. So take it from me, ED, Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Call 404-777-1911 or online at tbtofga.com.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Tomorrow, we reflect on the life of Charlie Kirk on what would have been his 32nd birthday. Gone far too young, Charlie represented an unabashed pride in the American way of life, unafraid to speak out, and contributed so much to the conservative movement. His legacy lives on in the voices of conservatives across the nation and right here in Atlanta, on your only home for conservative news and talk. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Getting ready to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for being here and being part of it. Had so many discussions from the release of the hostages, the 20 remaining living hostages, which is great news. The return of the Palestinian prisoners by Israel. And then Donald Trump giving a rousing speech to the Israeli parliament. He is now on his way to Egypt, going to continue putting in place this peace deal, the 20-step peace plan that Donald Trump has come up with and has put into motion like nothing we've ever seen before, nothing we've ever experienced before. And there is actually hope for the first time in my lifetime, in our lifetimes, of possible peace in the Middle East. It's surprising. It's encouraging. You're hopeful. You understand the obstacles ahead. That it is not going to be an easy path necessarily, but one that we've never had this much of a chance with before.
We've had deals on the table in the past and everything falls apart. And we have had situations where you get a deal in the region, but yet there are still some bad actors in the region. This does have a different feel to it because you've just had a brutal war going on between two groups. And let's face it, for as ugly as October 7th was, and 100% atrocities, it's awful. The Israelis beat the hell out of the Palestinians to a level of cruelty that the rest of the world was like, you can't do that. And they're like, they hit us first.
Yes, we can.
It's like, this is what we do.
That's right.
It's like, you don't understand it. This is what we do. So they're dealing from a point of not only strength, but the end of cruelty that was started. And then they're looking at it as like, hey, we finished it.
Yeah.
You know, you want some help? We gave you some help. We gave you some help.
That's exactly
so
right.
I think that's where this has a different opportunity to possibly get further down the road than some of the rest of these deals done, because it's off of a major war.
Seeing the video of these freed hostages hug their mothers for the first time and their grandmothers for the first time in over 700 days is like nothing I've ever seen before. I cannot imagine the agony of the families, the worry, the concern for 700 days. Think about that. Let's make this a practical application. Have you ever been in like let's say a Target or a Walmart or wherever, and your little kid, this happened to me and my wife, your little kid hides inside one of the racks where all the clothes are. You can't see them. Clothes are hanging there, but they're right in the middle of it. And you have that drop in your stomach where you're like, where's my kid? And you can't find them. And you're calling their name, and you're calling their name, and they still don't come out because they think it's funny. They've scared their parents. They think it's funny. They're hiding. They're playing a little game. And sometimes it gets to the point where they shut the doors of the building so nobody can get in, nobody can get out until you find the kid. And that feeling of terror, sheer terror, not knowing where your child is for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. These families have lived for over 700 days. So when they have this moment of rejoice and tears, when they're rejoined, when they're gathering with their family. I've been there. My son did that. I thought I could have beat him with an inch of his life. I'm telling you, scared us to death. We didn't get to the point where we had to shut down the door because I finally heard him giggling. I was like, oh, that's where he is. And I remember just scolding him, like, don't you ever do this again. Don't ever do this again. You scared us so badly, and trying to help him understand what he had done. Just knowing that feeling for 5 minutes of not knowing where your kid is, Los, these people experienced it for over 700 days.
It's just crazy to think of that you spend every single day just hoping, and you don't know what's happened to your loved ones, and you don't know what condition they're in. You just know they're out there.
Somewhere, and you can't get to them.
So creepy and crazy.
So hurtful.
So you see some of the love these people are getting when they're coming home.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's no reason, and I'll wait for the first person out there who will complain about this, but there's no reason to not be celebrating this.
Jack Posobiec tweeted out, and we're both fans of him, Los and I, and it was a simple tweet. It just said, Charlie would have loved this, the moment that these people came home and rejoined their family. And I agree with him. He would have. It's crazy though that's the kind of impact that Charlie Kirk had on the world. That even though he's gone, it's still, what would Charlie have thought? What would Charlie have done? Because he had such an impact. It's incredible. His birthday tomorrow, and we'll certainly recognize that and probably have a little bit to talk about. I mean, we're not going to spend the whole show on it by any means, but I think it's worth mentioning that it's still so fresh.
There's a level of inspiration that should come from it.
Yeah, I think so
and
too.
I don't think that there's anything wrong about when you have somebody who dies so publicly in a political assassination, and to see then the outpouring of what came off of that and how that did change people to rethink some of the things they're doing in their life. I'll be very curious. Might have been a bit of a publicity stunt, but maybe it's not. Like a guy like Paul Feinbaum for ESPN who talked about, maybe I should run for office. Is that legitimate? All right, we'll see. But he brought up Charlie Kirk as the am I doing enough for what I believe in? And if he did anything, he outed himself. He is a Republican.
Yeah, in case there was any question.
In case anybody at ESPN, Disney, ABC wanted to know, Paul Feinbaum's like, yeah, I'm a Republican.
Yeah. And that's why he was
might
absent.
make me a bad guy around here.
It's the reason he was absent from the air, and you had the audio last week of Stephen A. Smith inviting him on when I guess the smoke had cleared. He was like, welcome back. Hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, well.
They have pointed it all out. But think about this. Trump has ended conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Congo, India, Pakistan, Serbia, Kosovo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Armenia, and I'm going to mess that up.
Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan.
Oh,
Thank
yes. You did so good.
I was close.
Got there.
Yeah. And yes, that's right. Got there. And then Israel and Hamas now. I mean, it's incredible what he's been able to do. And there's a reason that so many people are leaving the Democrat Party and joining the Republican Party, or at a minimum, becoming independent. And one of the biggest people in the world, meaning a guy like freaking Chuck Norris. We don't have time to play the audio.
Yes.
But the Chuck Norris was like, dude, the party left me.
He's like, listen, I've been Democrat my whole life.
Yeah.
And then they went way off the deep end.
And then they went off the freaking deep end and made no sense anymore. when Chuck Norris says, hey, these people are nuts.
When Chuck Norris leaves you.
That's when you've lost. That's when you know you've absolutely lost. And there's no chance of you winning anytime soon. That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for caring about your community and your state and your country. We will continue to have that same fire and passion about our community, our state, and our country here on Extra 106.3. For Los and Jure, I'm Tug. Yeah, got there. Y'all come back now. You hear it's a G. It's that hard G. Oh, and it's very in the back of your throat.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.